I have to wait.
That's a Chappelle Show theme reference.
Hi, welcome to the Objective Perspective. I'm Chase,
And I'm Thomas.
and we're going to be talking about... It's been a long time. I actually lost the groove right there, so I totally forgot how to do this. It's been a few weeks, maybe a whole month since I've done.
It's definitely been at least 3-4 months since I was last on this podcast.
Yeah, since you were... And that's really what Matt... No, I don't care. Joe's busy. School's starting. And I'm tired, and school's been hectic first couple of days.
Have demanded me.
Yeah, everyone's been like, man, where's Thomas at? All 0 people who watch the show. So I've had to go and find Thomas, he was right below me the whole time.
I was, actually.
Which is like an actuality where he is I live on a 3rd floor, and he lives on a 2nd.
In the same building.
And
not just on a general 2nd floor and a 3rd floor.
We can't let people know that much. That's too much information.
I'm just saying, we're just giving them the y-axis coordinates in that regard. There's a lot of people above
Well, if they go up, then they'll find us.
They'll find us.
We're right above them, Thomas. We record in the skies.
We actually have a blimp, an objective perspective blimp.
Yeah, so Goodyear was starting to really lose money. It was hemorrhaging with all the Goodyears that would go out during the football game. And so I said, why not invest where Goodyear's not, back in the blimp?
Exactly.
And so we bought a Goodyear blimp. We have yet to change the Goodyear part of it off. So whenever you see a Super Bowl game, you see the Goodyear blimp up there. It's actually ours. We just haven't had the money to paint the Goodyear blimp. We're hemorrhaging a lot on this.
Yeah, that was honestly a very poor investment on our part.
I think if you give it 5 years, it'll return in dividends, is my actual opinion.
Are we going to rent the...
No, we own it. We own it now. It's ours. So if 5 years, it'll come back to us with all the free advertising we're getting.
It'll come back to
I also lost the blimp, Thomas.
You make it sound like the blimp is fucking Lassie, and it's like we're like, go. We don't want you anymore. And now the blimp's gonna.
We send it out to be like, hey, go get us people, and it has yet to return. And I've heard horrifying stories of where it's been.
I'm imagining just this blimp flying really low to the ground with these tentacle tendrils just sucking people up.
I want to
the
point
street.
out, me and you had the exact same image in our mind, which is maybe the weirder part.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, that's why this is the objective perspective. And let's get into what's coming out in September before we hop into news. Mm-hmm. September 5th, we got Knack 2 popping off, coming off the chain. Why? All right, look, no need to be negative about games.
It is a game that was perfectly forgettable and doesn't deserve a sequel.
Hey, that game I want to play it. I want to know what Knack 2 is really badly.
I played a demo of it in a GameStop, and
Knack 2?
Of Knack 1.
Oh, okay, yeah, I beat Knack 1.
Out. I only played the demo, and the whole time playing it, I was like, why would I own this game?
So when the PS4 first came out, no games came out for it.
I bought Battlefield 4 for it, first game.
I had it on my computer, and I was like, I ain't buying Battlefield 4 again. So I got Knack instead. A better title, some would argue, because it is.
No.
Battlefield 4 sucks. Knack 2's real winner. I'm joking. I like Battlefield 4 quite a lot. Stop it. Knack is bad, and I want to know if Knack 2 is even worse or an actual good game. I just want to know.
I'm just imagining it's going to be something like Troll 2, where it's a completely different game with a completely different story and set of characters, but they're just slapping Knack 2 on it and Knack characters into it.
So
which contradicts what I just said.
Everything I saw looked like we made a sequel to Knack, and they also were like, hey, look, there's co-op. But I can almost guarantee there was co-op in the first game too, so I don't know what their actual big selling point for Knack 2 is, besides, more Knack.
Yeah,
more Knack. He's big.
He's a big boy.
He's big Knack. And I'm like, all right.
Big Knack.
Big Knack is it's the Big Knack and Little Knack, the Star Wars theory of Knack.
What is the next game?
Destiny 2 comes out September 6th, so the next day, on a Wednesday, it looked like, which is a weird...
Yeah,
that's a weird drop date, but Destiny 2 is coming out, and I want to get it for my computer, but I'm afraid my friends are all getting it for the PS4, and it's making me real sad. It's every time I see that game on the PC, I'm like, oh, it looks really, really good.
Oh, really? Because
it looks really good.
I played the closed beta on the PS4 because I had a pre-order on it, because I had a pre-order on Battlefield 1.
Yeah.
Ended up buying it on the PC, and I was switching it, and the guy was just like, at GameStop. I was at a GameStop.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm not judging you.
I know. The guy was just like, oh, we can't switch your $5 over because it was store credit when I put the $5 on it. So I was like, I'll pre-order Destiny 2 so I can try it. I don't know. My honest opinion was like it felt like more Destiny,
Yeah.
but I know that the leveling system has changed dramatically since when I last played it, which was at launch. Like I bought Destiny 1 at launch.
Yeah.
I got to like 30. It was like level 30 and then the light levels, right?
Yeah, it's level 30, then you get light levels.
Yeah, I got to like light 3 or light 4 before I like gave up on the game.
Okay.
Something like that. And then I heard like they revamped the whole light system and changed leveling entirely. And that was like a big thing I didn't like because it was just grind.
So the light system never went away. People are lying to you, I think.
I thought they like retooled
They
it.
retooled it again in Destiny 2, where like the game automatically knows what your hot gear to. So if you like open up an engram and you don't have like the best shit equipped, it'll still automatically know what's your best shit and then give you the best thing out of that, which is cool.
I was gonna say
Destiny 2 looks like a
helps.
better game, just all around better. It just needs to have more content with it. Like, and that's like my big fear of Destiny 2 is like I like FPSs at 60 frames per second. Destiny 2 at 60 frames per second seems like a pretty good thing.
Does it run at 30 on the consoles?
30 on the consoles, 60 on the PC. That's like where I'm actually sitting, but I know my friend's going to want to play with me and his
like,
girlfriend is going to want to girlfriend's not going to get me and him would both be on the computer if he didn't have a girlfriend is actually what I would say, that she's ruining my relationship with my friend. Damn
okay,
women.
The Objective Perspective podcast does not actually hate women.
One of us doesn't.
Ladies.
The real thing is she doesn't want to spend $1,000 on a fucking computer, which is the most
fair
real
statement. Yeah, I was gonna say the fairest statement.
No, I completely
that's
agree
the
with
big
that.
thing, like that console gaming, and I still own consoles. Like I haven't given up on console gaming since I built a gaming PC. But it's like consoles are so much more readily accessible.
Yeah, and they're way
way
ready to
chiller.
go too.
Yeah,
Like the thing is, like a console's promise is cheaper. Games will look worse. That's like an obvious thing, but hopefully not too much worse. And when you put them in, they work. That's the real promise. That second part's not been coming out to fruition for a while now. If you don't have internet, it really sucks for you.
Which is a huge fucking slap in the face of everybody who buys consoles, but that's another story altogether. To be fair, it's the same with same with PC gaming too, but it's just if you built a PC, you probably have an internet connection.
Yeah. And really, we should just be working on getting internet to everyone. Is like what that actually comes out to.
Actually should come out to
that public infrastructure and internet and giving internet to everyone should be a real plan. But besides that, Destiny 2, it felt really good, and like that's also like Destiny feels it's a really good shooter. It doesn't have content that like made it very like I don't need some great stories in games. I just don't. I need really good gameplay. Or if you don't have great gameplay and have a really great story, then like I can.
Yeah, I was gonna say
like
I need like one or the other.
Yeah,
now, when a game has both, that's fantastic.
Then in the future's now.
Yeah.
But like Destiny 2 is really really fun and really great way to hang out with friends. And that game, like the grinding parts were like annoying, but like I actually enjoyed doing the strikes over and over, getting like conceptually better at those things. I enjoy doing that.
And I will say it's like when you played with friends, it became infinitely more fun. But that's true of like. That's
every game, but I think that game had like good if you just want to get harder, like you playing with your friends and be like, no, you come in here, I'm popping my bubble. Like it made the game playing not like oh I played with someone I got better. It's like oh I played with someone and I had strategy more with them now, and that's fun.
And especially that is another part of you playing with your friends. You get strategies down, you have coordination, you have this like understanding of how you play the game, how they play the game, and how you can make that work together, which is great. I love it.
I'll just have to see how much content that game has when it comes out. Because if it has a lot of content and looks good, then I'll probably then I'll jump. But I'm just gonna wait, or I'm just gonna buy it and play it anyways because I'm a fucking nightmare of a person and don't hold up to my own moral arguments because I'm a human.
I was gonna say it's a game that I'm not gonna pick up at launch, but I am gonna watch reactions to it after launch to get an idea if it's something I should do.
Just gonna watch YouTube face cammers and watch the reaction to the game.
Exactly. I want to see like every pupil dilation. I'll be measuring your pupils, YouTubers. But no, it's like, and if people I know are picking it up and they like it, like people whose opinions line up with mine, and like I trust them to not lead me astray. So not you, no. So you.
Who is someone at? I just want to throw some people under the bus right now because no one at VGHL listens to this podcast.
Obviously.
Who at VGHL if you had said they said you like Destiny 2, would be like, I'll wait for someone else to tell me.
Like, who would not trust my opinion?
No, who would you not trust?
Oh.
If someone at VGHL was like,
I was-
I like Destiny 2, would
If
you be
you're
like,
asking
oh,
who would not
wait.
trust my opinion, it's almost everyone at VGHL.
You know, I got your back.
I was gonna say you have my back, but like it's because I'm like the one FPS gamer on VGHL. Nobody trusts my opinions anymore, and I don't like Overwatch, which now like most of my friends who loved Overwatch are hating Overwatch right now.
You've just been waiting in the wings.
I have. I'm like, I was first.
Join me.
Buy Battlefield 1. Anyway, God, someone whose opinions I wouldn't trust. I would say possibly to throw a fellow objective perspective around.
Joe, you're gonna throw Joe right
Joe,
under?
but not okay. Let me explain.
Okay, no,
it's
I like
not
this.
because
This is what I like.
I don't like think he has good opinions. I just think our taste in games line up in different ways. Like I
Gotcha.
hate grinding in a lot of games, and I hate like turn-based combat in games. And that is like Joe's bread and butter because he's a JRPG fan.
Yeah.
And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. It's just that's not my taste. So it's like if Joe tells me he likes a game, I'm going to be slightly hesitant just because our opinions on games are fairly different.
This is why I do this podcast. This is the only reason.
Joe, I love you. You're great. It's just we have different opinions on games.
Yeah,
you hate all the games
he's just
I love.
wrong. Yeah, he's just
No,
wrong. It's
not-
okay to say
That's
it.
the objective perspective.
Yeah, that Joe's wrong. He's off. So now it's the objective perspective. Joe's just actually has bad opinions.
And like it's just like we're different kinds of gamers, and
Yeah.
that's why like our opinions don't tend to line up.
All right, September 12th, we got Pro Evo Soccer 2018 coming out. That's a Konami joint soccer game. So Konami's still making video games, still out there doing the do.
That's not Metal Gear Survive, so
No, not yet. That's next year probably. If I had to really guess, that's next year. But I'm
maybe. I
unsure.
haven't heard like anything about
Not
it
a
since
peep.
the announce.
It might never come out.
It might not. That'd be a very Konami move.
September 14th, we have Dishonored Death of the Outsider, which is the expansion for Dishonored 2, which
Yeah.
Dishonored 2 was a game I never got around to beating, but really liked and should probably beat one day, but I've just been busy with other stuff.
I never played Dishonored 2. I played Dishonored 1, but I had trouble like getting into it. I don't know, like the world got my attention at first, but the more time I spent with it, I didn't feel super engaged. And to qualify all of this, I only got about 2 hours into the game. So I'm sure I missed a lot of cool little factoids or something, but like it just didn't have that like gripping power right off the bat to make me stay.
Gotcha.
I also got it for free, so I didn't have that like incentive of like I paid money, so I need to keep pushing forward.
Yeah. People know I love Arcane Studios. They're one of my favorite game world makers. Their games can be like ho-hummy in gameplay.
That is
even
Arcane that made that?
Arcane Studios has
Okay.
made that. They're the people who made Prey made your Dishonored
We'll
games.
get
into that. We'll get into what
yeah.
we're talking about. Yeah, no worry. But I really like the way they make their games a lot. I think they do really good first person narrative stuff that I don't think other games really do as well. So I like Arcane Studios a lot. I wish I beat Dishonored 2, but I got busy.
Fair
Also, December 14th, Divinity Original Sin 2, so the sequel to Divinity Original Sin,
That was
a very good game.
Yeah, which is also turn-based combat.
Turn-based combat.
I was gonna say that is the thing. That is the biggest barrier that has kept me from buying it. But I'm still like thinking about, especially now that there's like co-op in it too, so there is that element.
There's
of playing
co-op
with
in
a
the
friend.
original.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like about the original.
What do you have it for?
I don't have it. What I'm saying is I never bought it because I'm not a big turn-based guy.
All right. We understand. We can all have bad opinions, like
Yeah,
always.
Okay. All right. That was an attack.
Objectively.
I have enjoyed some turn-based
I like
games.
how you're like,
it's
I
just
love
they're
D
rare.
and D, and that game is like, what if we made D and D? And then you're like, I hate the part where I have to play D and D, and I'm like, all right, get
Well,
out of
D&D
here, you
is-
scamp,
D&D I enjoy a lot, but that's like there's a lot of like a social aspect to it, or at least when
and
I
play the
played.
co-op Divinity.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
you big
that's like
silly
that's me
goof.
and one other guy. Like when I played D&D, like we had a party of about 8 people. Like it was
It's a lot of people.
yeah, and it was us, and it was like the comedy writing staff of the show I run on TSTV.
Yeah.
Like, and we were all just like having fun with it. Our DM was also a writer, and he was really good at like improving whenever we had like if he'd make a ton of plans. Like he was great at planning. But if we somehow found a way to go off his plan, he always had something in mind, whether
he,
or not
like-
he had it.
Yeah, he
before,
knew what to do.
which was great. Like he was a really great DM. But yeah, so it's like Divinity is reducing that number,
Yeah.
but I could probably still jive with it. I just haven't tried it yet.
September 15th, so after that day, is Metroid Samus Returns, which is the 3DS Metroid game coming out.
Finally.
I guess. I get, like, it's weird.
I
Like,
never-
it's a Metroid 2 remake, and someone already made a Metroid 2 remastered off the book.
Yeah.
And that got taken down because this game's coming out.
Nintendo has a history with that.
Yeah, it's weird. Sometimes they'll leave stuff up for a long
So
time, but this is like Metroid. They have no, we have our own Metroid 2 coming
Is this
out.
just like a straight up Metroid 2 remake?
No,
or
it's
is
a
it like,
reboot. It's like a.
So
I mean, so it's
yeah, so
it's,
they
it's
are
a straight up
changing
remake. So it's
things.
all like, and then they change, like, there's melee combat in a weird way. Looks like more actiony. I've heard the developer's not that great, so hesitant expectations for this game. This is a game I want, but will actually be totally waiting for because
You
I don't
gotta
want to
hear
buy
how
a
it
bad.
came out,
I
yeah.
don't want to buy a bad Metroid game. I already bought one a while ago.
Did you buy which one?
Other M.
Oh yeah.
I don't like that game.
Never played it. I heard bad things about it. I played the Metroid Prime. I played 1 and 3. I never played 2. Yeah, I know, weird.
You're weird.
But I loved those games, and like I haven't played the original Metroid like side-scrolling games. I really want to, and I've played like Metroidvania-esque games and enjoyed them a lot. Like Shadow Complex is a game that I had a lot of fun with.
You'd probably like Super Metroid then.
likely, yeah.
Joe just played it this summer. We talked about it on our show a couple episodes ago, or last episode. I don't know actually when this timeline is anymore. I've lost complete track of
Fair
when
enough.
school started happening. September 19th, Marvel versus Capcom Infinite. I said that weird. Like
I heard a lot of disparaging things about the like demo that they released.
I've heard like up and down things completely now of people being like, some of the stuff's really cool in here and some of the stuff isn't that great and the graphics aren't great, but once in motion it actually looks nice. So
Yeah, I have heard the graphics are like the biggest point of contention to people.
I always with me with like this stuff and like how crazy Marvel vs. Capcom can get, I bet they make it look worse. They can like that actually keep it at a steady 60 frames per second, having two people can go in
yeah.
at screen.
Which, fair enough, like when it comes to fighting games, having it run at a smooth and fast frame rate is probably a little more important than the actual visuals.
Yeah.
Like if the game plays well, fighting game players, myself being not like a great one, but one that enjoys it a lot, are going to prefer that to a game that just looks ridiculously pretty.
But then like my other side of that is like that game tries to look more realistic and it looks ugly doing it. And
Yeah,
like
they
we're
should-
like old, like Marvel's Capcom 3 is like stylized in
To
a
look
better
like
way.
like comic books.
Yeah.
Like to make even the characters that don't have like comic book-esque origins, they made them look that way to fit the aesthetic. And
Yeah.
it was cool. Like I've played a little bit of the original Marvel vs. Capcom, and it's a fun time.
So that's coming out. I'm interested in that game. As always, I'm interested in fighting games. I'll never play one really, but I'll watch them from the background all the times. Like those games just look good.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I like watching them.
I think they're a lot of fun to watch, especially when you're watching two people who are like moderately okay to like really good at it, because then it becomes like really technical and really interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Speaking of fighting games, September 22nd is Pokemon Tournament DX for the Switch. That Pokemon Tournament game's coming.
Pokken tournament?
Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't know. We played it on VGHL. I
Oh,
wasn't
yeah, that game
super
looks bad.
interested in it. Yeah.
That game's like not great, and
It looks kind of like the fighting style of like the old Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi games, but done worse
that's good.
and
You know.
less stylized.
So
Yeah.
get hype, go all damn night, get your Pokemon Tournament.
Uh-huh. Do it right.
September 26th is Danganronpa version 3, Killing Harmony.
I'm not even gonna pretend that I have
hey,
any idea what that is.
Hot off the press, this hot visual novel's coming out. Danganronpa's super big. It's a visual novel series that's been like huge. It's about like surviving a school murder festival, pretty much. Where like you get
a
you get
Hunger
locked,
Games-esque
you get
thing, or
locked in
like
a school with people who have like all have special abilities. Like I'm the
Okay.
most baseball.
So
or I'm the most lucky person alive.
So it's not like a really dark.
No,
scary
it's
school shooters.
pretty
'Cause
fucking
that
visual.
was my
No.
first thought, and I was
And
like,
you get, like,
"Holy
locked in
crud,
with,
how
like,
is
a-
this not?"
Yeah, you get like locked in with a bear who's like, oh, someone. It's like I think it's like whoever kills someone and gets away with it can get out of. I locked everyone in the school and I'm this evil bear.
Oh, so you have to like kill
Solve
somebody
murders.
and
No, you
not
have to
get
solve
caught.
murders.
Oh,
you
so
solve
you're
them.
the
You're
one
the
who
good
isn't
person. Yeah,
killing.
you're the good
Okay.
guy. And so it's dealing with that.
Well, then why am I doing this if I can't kill somebody?
So those games are weird and they just get weirder as time goes on. So I actually don't know what those games really are. I just like know the setup and then haven't played really any of them.
I'm not a big. I haven't played a lot of visual novels unless you count like Telltale type games. I guess are
I do.
similar. Yeah, I was gonna say.
I would just straight up call them visual novels.
Then yeah, I've played Telltale games, but not really anything beyond that.
I'd actually say take them away a little bit more from the visual novel angle. They have too much budget to be a visual novel, and like my
Yeah, no,
actually. Oh God, yeah, sure, whatever. Telltale
I
games
say
are visual novels.
They're similar gameplay to what I've seen of visual novels.
They're more like visual movies. If like really actually, if I want to like break it down.
As long as the writing's good, it's really enjoyable.
Yeah. I think that always. September 28th is Total War Warhammer. 2, I assume, because it doesn't say 2 on here, but I'm gonna say 2 because the original's already out.
Oh.
And I own it, so.
Was it a mod or is it an actual like official game?
The first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. It's an official game, and this is the sequel is coming out. They announced it.
Is it like
at E3?
Total War Warhammer or Warhammer 40K?
Original Warhammer original. So they're gonna have the next one's like this one's like Lizardmen, Skaven, Dark Elves, High Elves, and if you pre-order it, you get the Nordic race because they're super stingy. Sega's, as always, is super stingy on there. I think Sega is like super hard on like DLC stuff right now.
I was gonna say, in my experience with like Sega games, they're very much big on like pre-order exclusives and like that kind of stuff.
I still think this pre-order practice is the most disgusting of locking a race behind a pre-order bonus.
I think if it's timed exclusives,
you can buy it. You can buy it if you get it afterwards, but you have to buy it.
Part of me hates that you have to buy it.
That's
I would prefer it if it's like it's a timed exclusive and then it's released for free for everybody else. Which has been done in games where it's like you get a pre-order bonus that you get this ahead of schedule. Like I know that Dragon Ball Fighter Z, another fighting game coming out, it comes out like in March 2018. But they announced pre-order exclusive of Super Saiyan Blue, Goku, and Vegeta. And I was like, well, not exclusive, but timed exclusive.
Yeah.
And I was like pissed.
Yeah, it's I don't like that pre-order strategy.
I understand it, but like I prefer it as like, you know, timed exclusive and then everybody else gets it unpaid, or it's like you unlock this immediately and everybody else can unlock it through gameplay.
Yeah,
but I mean, not you have to now pay $5 to get.
But like it's like a whole race for an RTS is like a huge thing. It's like locking a character from a fighting game that's not like also like I don't know if Super Saiyan Blue Goku is just a skin switch for Goku in the game.
As far as I can tell, they're giving them their own moveset.
Yeah, like
so
that's
that is
fucked up. That's like that's super fucked up. And like so like now I can't I can't play that to know what his moveset like. It just like that. I think that's really shitty.
Fucked, yeah.
Yeah, and like for Warhammer, like I can't play now this race. So I don't know. I'm being locked away from content.
Especially, in a real-time strategy game, you need to know how a side plays in order to try to counter that.
Especially since the sequel to this game has none of the original races that were in the original game. These are all new races.
So there's no baseline to like draw off of.
Yeah, so
they might end up being similar to some of the ones in the original game, but
I would be surprised if any of them actually are, because they all try to make them very unique. Like dwarves are super unique from humans, as in like if you play the campaign of dwarves. If you lose a battle or like something happens, you get a grudge, and you have to use that grudge to kill someone. You have to go out and fight them as you're holding a grudge, or like and then like if you're playing the orcs, you have to keep fighting or you'll lose people pretty much. So like that game's they're all very interesting. So like I don't think there'll be a baseline for like when I play Lizardmen, I've been creating monasteries or something different, or if I'm playing the Dark Elves, I start like enslaving people.
I don't know. I was thinking like there'd be similarities maybe between first game sides and these new sides. Not like these are the same side new skin, but like
there'll be archers,
there are, like minor elements.
Yeah, there'll be archers, there'll be swordsmen, there'll be cannon boys.
Strategies might be like kind of similar, but you have to change them up because this side like has relatively similar like units or something and a relatively similar structure, but not the same.
My only
that's what I'm thinking.
Fear for Total War Warhammer 2 is I played the original and I liked it, but it was really light. It felt, and they added a whole bunch of DLC and fixed the game a lot with patches because there's like some really broken stuff in it, and it felt really huge at that point. It was awesome. Like there's so much stuff in that game to play, but also it cost you the game again.
Yeah, and so you're worried that it's going to be the same.
It's going to be the same thing again. So I might just wait.
RTSs do that all the time too. Yeah. Like I've just from playing other RTS games, usually the expansion packs feel like. It's like you pay the same price as the game, but you do get a lot of content out of it. But it's like, why couldn't there have been more? Well,
the thing is, like, it wasn't like it wasn't like a Total War Warhammer the Northern factions. It was like, no, this is just like DLC over time of like $5, $10. Like it was just DLC, and like that's what
added up.
It just added to being like very good content.
I'm thinking of like a Battle for Middle Earth.
Like, I know exactly what you're thinking of. Like, oh yeah, I got Warhammer Dawn of War. Now I have Winter Assault. Now I have Dark Crusade. Like as someone who just bought Dawn of War 3. that game feels light on races as in there are only 3, which is like fucked up. And considering like Dawn of War 2 also had 4.
At
Or
launch, or
at launch, Dawn of War 2 had 4. It had Oryx, Eldar, Space Marines, Tyranids, and then expansion added Chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Also, not launching with Chaos is always makes me the most mad at any Dawn of War stuff because I like the 140k races a lot and I want all those cool characters. And I get mad. I give Dawn of War 1 a pass because it started with 4 races, but then had so many expansions that led up to it that gave it like 2 more races each time. They all felt very different and unique. Except when you get to the last one, those ones I just didn't like those races. I don't like Soulstorm at all. But maybe those because I was tired of Dawn of War. But then you get like Dawn of War 2 and fucking resets the whole map again, where it's like, all right, we're going back to 4, 3 of the originals, and then Tyranids, and then 1 expansion for Chaos. And then the next game is 3 races, Eldar, Oryx, Space Marines, and then I don't know, we'll add stuff later. And like it feels so light in comparison to anything.
It's like they're just like not putting the effort in, or at least the same kind of effort they put in before.
Yeah, it just kind of sucks because I like Warhammer 40k a lot, and I like to see someone treat that really well. And I ain't getting it. September 29th, Cuphead is finally probably coming out.
Cuphead is a game that like 90% of the reason I'm interested in it, and I think most of the reason a lot of people are interested in, and its biggest selling point really is its art style, which I think is gorgeous. Like, I will buy that game just because I think it looks wonderful in a totally like different kind of way.
Yeah, I just hope the gameplay of that game is also
That
good
is, yeah, I was
or
gonna
manageable
say, that
or
is,
not bad.
That is the problem when you get sucked in by something, I didn't say arbitrary. Art style is not arbitrary, but when you're sucked in by just one element, is that you tend to overlook in like pre build up to it everything else. And most of the things I've seen people talking about Cuphead talk about the art style of Cuphead, and they're like, oh, it was hand-drawn animations that they used to map out everything in the game. And I'm like, all this is so cool, and I'm so drawn in by that. But there's still this like lingering like fear in the back of my head, like, but is it going to suck?
But what's the shooting like?
Yeah, like what is it like when you're jumping? What is it like when you're shooting?
What's the jump and shoot man doing?
Yeah, is it gonna play like Mega Man? Which it's gonna play like Mega Man, but is it gonna have polish like the original Mega Mans and like play well, or is it going to lack polish because they spent more time on the art style?
And the other thing is like that game's been reworked a lot because like at first I heard it like I think at first it was just a boss rush game, like you just fought bosses.
And so they added
and people were like, "Yo,
to it.
you need to add levels," and they're like, "Oh fuck, I guess we're gonna add whole levels now." And so like that's why it got delayed for so long because like at first all you did was fight the bosses, and now it's like, oh, now you do those. I'm pretty sure it's right. Don't hold me to that one actually.
Gotcha.
But I think that's how it was.
I mean, and if a game changes direction like that a lot can be lost between like iterations. Maybe it would have been a fantastic boss rush that is now getting muddied by adding levels when that wasn't what the team intended or what it was built around.
But that art style still looks beautiful. So hopefully hopefully all the games I've talked about on here are great and fantastic. And
honestly,
everyone loves them.
Like I said, honestly, I'm probably still going to pick up Cuphead just because it looks great.
Yeah.
And also like the amount of effort that went into making it look like that is noteworthy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. FIFA 18, September 29th. That is the last game on this list. Get hyped, go all damn night for FIFA.
I mean, a lot of people really do love FIFA, and I've played a little bit of it before because my brother's a big FIFA fan, so every now and then I play with him.
FIFA's considered the top dog of sports games right now. Is like
and I think that's
pinnacle.
Because it has such like a global audience.
Yeah,
like, people in America don't care about soccer.
I mean, like
myself being one of them.
Yeah, I don't care about any sports because they all suck. But
I like hockey.
I hate the sports ball as the obligatory nerd joke here.
Yeah,
no, I think
I like the hockey as the like trophy sports fan of every like nerdy podcast.
It's more not like a top dog as in it sells well, as in like people. I think people like FIFA just as like gameplay levels of. I know people who play every sports game. Or like, no, FIFA's just the best sports game being made. Like, it's just at the core, it's the best.
And I will say, as having played it before, like, it does run really smoothly. It's got a bit of like a learning curve to it when you're first like picking it up.
Learn how to play soccer.
I know.
I don't know what the rules of soccer are.
The controls are like, once you start getting them, the controls are actually pretty intuitive and like they work. Like, it feels responsive. It feels like right, like once you get what you're doing.
It feels like soccer out there.
Like it
feels like my cleats are on the green again.
God damn it. It feels well designed is like what I'm getting down to.
Yeah.
And like that's good. And aren't they like trying to add like a story mode?
So there was a story mode
Yeah.
last year, and they're doing
Okay.
a literal sequel to that same story mode as you're playing the same character on like his downfall from being the top dog to not the top dog
And you
anymore.
see, I think that's like an interesting thing because most sports games, like most sports game franchises, the only reason you buy the new game is for the updated roster and the
Yeah.
updated players. This one is actually trying to bring some kind of draw into it, and I think I'm in hearing. Don't count on me for this one. I think I heard like Madden is now considering adding a story mode.
So
or they are.
Madden came out, its story mode came out, and people liked it. Is like the third thing to that. Like people actually thought it was really.
Yeah.
People were like, "Hey, if you put this out on its own, like you release this for $30, I'd recommend people to buy Madden." Actually,
Yeah, and
like-
that's like
that's cool.
yeah, and I think that's like an interesting, like a good idea to make it feel like there's at least more value. Because that's been like my biggest problem is like they should just release FIFA like 1, 2, 3, like make it like a numbered entry, and then do maybe like $15 DLC update rosters every year. Like if
Yeah.
that'd be better for the consumer because the graphics don't make like huge jumps until like every like 5 of them.
Yeah.
And so it's like, release a new game every like 5 years, release roster packs every few years. But if they're going to start adding, a story to it, like now, even too, you have competing sports games in the same sport, like competing franchises in the same sport. Like there's NHL 15, but there's also NHL like 2K15 and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now you have another reason to say, I like this one because it has a plot that's actually pretty good or something like that.
Yeah.
So we'll say that is a development that I like, if for no other reason than it adds value to buying the new game.
Yeah.
Something unique to each version.
I think sports games are trying to branch out there. I mean, they've been trying, like the basketball game last year had Spike Lee on it. No, Spike Jones. Who was it? Who's the one? Spike Lee or Spike Jones? And I feel like I think it's Spike Lee, but I could be wrong.
And name something else that this person that you're thinking of did.
Did Spike Jones do Her?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, then Spike Lee. All right, cool, got it. That's how I know because I like Spike Jones and Spike Lee. I like, but they're definitely not the same person or the same director.
I was gonna say, to be fair, most I've seen of Spike Lee was his God, I'm blanking right now. Do the Right Thing.
Do the Right Thing. Yeah, that's Spike Lee. And he's
And
a
I've
really
seen,
good
like,
director.
I've never seen all of it. I've only seen like chunks of it, and it was really well put together, like really well made.
Yeah, he's an interesting director. I actually like a lot of his stuff, but
He knows how to make like very human feeling characters and make them feel
his
human.
story in the NBA game for EA was awful and garbage and hilarious with how it ended. As in, you should go to YouTube the ending of that game. Is it NBA 15 or 16?
Does it just end on like a huge cliffhanger type thing, or does it
So,
just end horribly?
your best friend dies in the game, and you're like, out there playing b-ball on the court, and then you walk away, but the camera stays there. Then your friend comes out in all white, because he's dead, and gives a 20-minute monologue on like what he thinks about basketball, and then the game just ends. I'm not joking with like it's 20 minutes long. It's like 20 minutes long. It's incredible.
That's just so excessive.
It's so like someone wrote a play about basketball and then put it in a video game. It's actually one of my favorite things of all time.
That would work as a stage play. Like people would. Okay,
that game wouldn't work as a stage play either, but I
wouldn't-
really like it.
No, I mean like that moment would work in a stage play, or
Yes,
at least like
yeah.
for a lot of people. As someone who enjoys stage,
As someone who enjoys the theater,
the theater. I mean, not like I'm like going to the theater every weekend to check whatever like the
I know
troupe's
you are.
doing. Yeah, I am. But no, I'm like, as someone who likes theater, like that's something I would see in a play, and as long as like the monologue's written well, I wouldn't question it.
yeah, no, it's truly incredible because it's like a minor character, your friend who's a constant fuck up throughout the whole game, and then just dies.
And then all of a
fucking things
sudden
up.
is like a major.
And then he just comes out and does his 20-minute monologue, and the game just ends. It's actually my favorite thing of all
it's
time.
like a Metal Gear cutscene.
And I think you're called, God, what is your name? You're called something dumb. I think
You
you're
have like a nickname.
you're called
that's
the
like,
Freak because your high frequency vibrations. It's real good.
So it's one of those nicknames like written by somebody who doesn't understand how nicknames are
no,
assigned
I
half the
think
time.
Spike Lee just did what he wanted to do, and it's kind of incredible. And they'll never do that again. Is what the actual answer to that is. But let's pick up some news. That was a weird way I pronounced that again. Let's get some news. Stop it. No.
That's our transition.
That's our news theme that I wrote.
News.
I'm gonna like cut that out and save that for when I talk about news.
I would actually love that.
We have No More Heroes sequel coming out called Travis Strikes Again.
I mean, they announced a few months ago that Travis will return.
Yeah.
Here he is. He'll be back.
And then he was like walking off like a shirt that says Travis Strikes Again, and like he is apparently, but I don't know what this game's gonna be like. He says like he's like taking inspiration from Hotline Miami and stuff, so I just have no idea what he is thinking. So I'm excited. Is like the actual answer to that. But there's not, our news is light, as in there's not much to talk about really right now. Just games are coming out, everyone's just dealing with that. But Brink went free to play. The reason was why not was the actual reason
that
given.
Was actually their
they were like
reason.
their real reason was like, yo, we put this game on sale for 99 cents. We're not gonna make any money off of 99 cents. Let's put it out for free to play and see if someone will buy the DLC. That's the actual thought process behind it.
So there's still DLC that you can pay for.
Very much so. So it's free to play.
The main game is free to play.
Brink sucks.
Yeah. I mean, this will get people to try it because now all they're losing is free time.
You can finally use the smart system. It's the Frito's like smart movement over random terrain. I think that's it. And if I remembered that, that's really depressing about my life. Players Unknown Battleground overtakes Dota 2 with the most concurrent players. So Players Unknown Battleground is number one on the Steam charts of, yo, we got people playing Players. So if you want to play Players Unknown Battleground and you want to beat Dota 2 and get rid of those MOBAs, join us now.
I mean, like, that's pretty big news. Like, MOBAs have been a huge thing, especially on Steam and on Twitch, like the people watching it. So it's impressive to think that a shooter game surpassed them.
They made a good game, and like it shows. It really does. I don't think it's still the most concurrent played game. There's probably League of Legends still probably really up there. I actually have no idea what League of Legends numbers are anymore.
Neither do I.
But I'm guessing massive is like the actual answer.
Because I know their tournaments are still big events. They still book like Imagine Dragons mostly, but people like come and play that.
Wait, Imagine Dragons shows up there?
Okay, you're doing one of those things.
No, I know who
really?
I know who Imagine Dragons. I don't follow League of Legends, dog.
Imagine Dragons wrote a whole song for the League of Legends tournament.
They did?
Yeah, you ever heard the song Warriors?
Maybe.
They're like, we are the Warriors.
No.
Oh. Well, that song was written expressly for a performance at a League of Legends tournament. Apparently, not only did they like get the job there, like they actually, at least like outwardly, they like the game. Like they think it's a good time.
That's fine. I just don't like Imagine Dragons. So like,
I'm like neutral on them. Like sometimes I'll listen to it because it's like decent pump up music if I'm like gonna go work out or something.
Yeah, I just gotta get pumped to Imagine Dragons, which is like maybe the most oxymoronic statement I've heard of like, not because the music isn't pump upable, it's like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go Imagine Dragons, and then like,
I mean, you need to listen to the song Warriors, because honestly, like even though with the knowledge that it was written for
very chill music, and that's probably about it. Like I just downloaded a pop song for the first time in a long time, and I really liked it, but it's poppy in the sense I'm like, this is happy, and like I just want to be happy or chill, and those are the two.
Yeah, and then there's me. I just downloaded 5 albums by a band I discovered over the summer because they all tell one continuous, really depressing story.
Who?
The Deer Hunter is the name. Like DEAR instead of DEER.
Yeah.
Also, they love puns. Like, even though the story is, like, very melodramatic, they have a lot of puns and character names. Like, the main character, who is the Deer Hunter, is the only thing he's ever referred to as, like, in the work.
Yeah.
His mother is named Miss Terry. In mystery.
I got it.
And then he meets a woman in the second album, the next chapter, named Misleading. Like they have stuff like that, but like the music's really good.
Okay.
And like it's really well put together. And like as a really long form rock opera, it's really great.
All right. That sounds enjoyable. I'll probably never listen to that, but I'll leave
the Deer Hunter fans.
Yeah, get all those Deer Hunter fans in here. None of them that exist.
The funniest thing was that the first person I talked to who knew about the Deer Hunter was like one of my friends goes to school in New Orleans, and I was visiting him. And like I mentioned the band, they're like, "You listen to the Deer Hunter?" I'm like, "You listen to the Deer Hunter?" Like I hang out with that guy. Like the first person I met personally knew like the main guy behind the band. Like it was just a friend of his.
That's pretty interesting.
Like, he's always just telling me, he's always just telling me to do this and like, or to listen to this. And like I listened to one album, which they have like 2 albums that aren't part of their like main story.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I like it. I like it a lot. It's like classical music mixed with rock.
Interesting. That does sound pretty appealing.
Yeah.
And I'll probably never listen to it, but I'll
Probably
trust
not.
your opinion.
Thank you.
and then the last piece of news is Monster Hunter World will continue to have free DLC as every Monster Hunter has kind of had, where they just give you new quests and stuff. I just like that. If a lot of people buy it, I would not be surprised if they made like a paid DLC expansion.
Like just like one major
yeah,
one.
one major one. I wouldn't be surprised because like Monster Hunter can take a while to make and a big expansion thing or put. I don't doubt they could do it.
Reinvigorate their profits.
But maybe not. I don't know.
We'll see.
I hope that game's really good. Everything I've seen from that game is really good. Everyone who's played Monster Hunter, who's played that game, has said it's really good.
As someone who's never played Monster Hunter, I'm interested in this game. It looks like a lot of fun.
You like Dark Souls, you'll probably like Monster Hunter. They're different, but not in like a very big. They're really good games.
Mean, they're both like action RPG type games. Like I can get behind it conceptually. As well as like, teaming up with a couple buddies and taking down giant monsters has never not sold me on a game. Lost Planet 2 is a fun time.
Lost Planet 2 is a really fun time.
It really
and also
is.
like I like the game. Like every weapon you get in the game it feels like its own game of a weapon. Like every weapon you get is so intensely different. We're like
it's like not even like weapon categories, but like different weapons.
Yeah, like it's not like you're like, oh, I play Dark Souls 2 and like every short like if you pick like I'm using the charge axe, every charge axe you get will be the same, but charge axes are so intricate. You couldn't pick up like, oh, now I'm gonna play the long sword. Like then you're playing a whole new different ball game.
So it's like
the whole game is different.
So
now.
it's like each weapon type has its own personality.
I think everyone calls it like a weapon category, and then like every weapon category is this. Every weapon in a weapon category is the same, but each weapon is so intensely different. Like where if they didn't have the switch axe in this game, which I think they do, which I think I saw the switch, which is my weapon of choice. If they didn't have that, I would sit down and open up my 3DS and start learning how to play a different weapon preemptively, so I didn't feel very behind as I started, because I'd be so far behind. If I was like, oh, I'm gonna use sword and shield, I'll be like, no, I don't fucking know how to use sword and shield right now. Or I'm gonna use the charge blade, I'd be like, I don't fucking know how to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like I've lost that ability because I only tried one weapon.
I kind of like that.
It's great. It's like
give each weapon a personality so that I feel like I am finding a weapon that fits my play style as opposed to just getting a weapon and playing a certain way.
And there's like really cool weapons, like the hunting horn I know for sure is back, which is it's like an ocarina. So like you're smacking, if you attack, it charges up a note, and then when you do your combo and it gives you different notes, and then you activate the note and it'll give you different effects. So like if you do like 3 certain notes, you'll get like a large defense boost, or if you do these 2 different notes and then this note, you'll get like a small attack boost for everyone.
And does it provide like these buffs to your teammates too?
Because
I know Monster Hunter's big on co-op.
Yeah, it's all for your team. Yeah, it's a really fun. It's like really
good
by
itself.
Like
support role.
Oh, it's just great by itself too. Like people would be like, no, I'm just soloing with Hunter Horn because like smack, I have health recovery now. And I'm just playing this game.
But it's like it adds another layer to it if you bring it into a general.
And people think like if you play with a team, you need like a lot of cooperation and stuff, and like that game's pretty just like, no, let's get in there and let's fuck this monster up flat. Where like there's like some aggroing too, but like not everyone's like, it's like I'm gonna throw the thing, and like that's the end of the like discussion of like what's gonna happen, and then you move on. Like, there's not like a huge strategy. It's like we should be really good at all staying alive together, and like that can be tough. It's really fun.
That can also be a ton of fun. Like,
that game's super great. I love Monster Hunter. I play all the Monster Hunters.
You're selling me on it pretty hard right now, and I was already
that's
like,
why I'd get it for the PS4 right away. I'd want to sit down with the controller and play Monster Hunter, and I'd want to lay back on a couch and play Monster Hunter. Those games are like, all right, you have 45 minutes to kill this monster. 30 minutes later, you kill the monsters. It takes 30 minutes to kill it takes for fucking ever in those games to kill the monsters, and it's great.
Sometimes I like a game where it's like I feel like I'm working towards something the whole time.
And you're cutting off parts of it, so you're like, I'm going to hit the tail so I can cut off a part of it and get that part from the tail, because you're grinding for parts the whole game. That game is a grinding game in the most explicit way of like, you need to go back there and fight that monster 7 more times to get all the parts from it, and it can be real rough. But
I'm not big on grind fest.
But then that's the whole game.
I was gonna say I'll have buddies at least. So
it's also like
if you
fun.
want to be buddies.
So it gets fun. It's like then like they'll use at least in the ones I play, they'll use the same monster again with a different paint job if you get real later on in the game. And those are just tougher versions that you've been fighting a bunch, and you're like, now I have to go fight them again, and they'll still whoop your fucking ass because, like, holy shit, they do too much damage.
Yeah, but that's fine. Like, the further I get, the more damage the enemies should do, because I'm going to be wearing better armor and using better weapons.
And you have to figure out your armor bonuses. It's like, oh, this one gives me increased sharpening, but I have to eat food more, and, like, it becomes a fucking nightmare.
So all the bonuses also have drawbacks in the game?
Sometimes the bonuses won't have drawbacks, like the early armor sets won't as much, but, like, also they'll be like...
So the better your equipment is, the more drawbacks you also also get.
But you can like offset it with charm. It gets real intricate real quick, and like there's
So
like
I've
loot
heard.
tables and shit, and like Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, people like will just not play that. Will restart their whole game if they get like a certain loot table. So go fuck this and just throw the whole game out pretty much and do again. It's like 30 hours in almost.
Jesus.
I don't know. I think they're getting rid of that stuff because it's bad.
Yeah, because anything that makes you throw away your entire save at 30 hours is something that should not exist.
Yeah, it's real. I mean, you don't have to get that. That's like a real late game thinking process of like when I get to my G rank hunts. And then I can get here when I'm fighting, like when I'm getting one hit and I'm dying pretty much. Like when it gets that far down the line, then you can think about stuff. But like mostly throughout the game, you'll get like increased armor, and each armor piece has like different bonuses for it. And then those armors will also have like, yo, this gives you good poison protection, but also shitty fire protection. So you shouldn't be fighting the fire guy with your shitty fire armor on.
Yeah, so you keep several sets.
Yeah,
of gear
and you also
for
keep a bunch of different
hunts,
weapons. Like this is your fire axe, this is your dragon axe, this is your thunder axe. So like you have all this shit. So you're constantly like building
cool,
weapons,
yeah.
and like it always feels like you're just trying to get stuff. It's fun. It's
but it's
real
like
good.
it actually like makes a point to like the gear grind because you need to specialize your gear for events. Yeah.
Like if I'm gonna fight a dragon, I'm gonna take my dragon axe.
Do they let you save like loadouts, or do you just have to like go into your inventory and equip things?
I don't know if they save your. They might. I think in this game, you can actually just when you go into the hunt, you can just walk in. And this is very different from the original. Any of the original ones is you can walk into a tent now and just go and look at your armor sets right at the beginning of the match. Which is like if you walked into the previous games, if you walked in to a hunt and you didn't have everything you wanted already, you're fucked. You're in the hunt. You're just gonna give up, throw away your money, call it a day, go back out.
So it required a lot of pre-planning.
Yeah, you'd be like, all right, I'm gonna go fight this monster. I'm gonna go look through my bestiary book and see what kind of monster this might be, and guess from like knowledge, and then go I got it fucking wrong. I could lose this one, and you might lose it, and it was enjoyable. It's a real fucking nightmare.
I'm interested. I'm curious.
It's a good series. I hope it's good. It looks good. It looks way better than they've all been. They've gotten rid of loading screens when you walk into different areas. So
yeah, they made it true open world, which is nice.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be really fun. So I'm super excited for Monster Hunter World. This is the most excited game I am for 2018 so far.
Nice.
And then with that, let's get into what we've been playing. So Thomas, lead off this show.
So, Chase recommended to me.
Yeah.
And I finally picked up because it was on sale for half off. Prey. And boy, oh boy.
It's a good recommendation.
I have realized that I missed something fantastic. Like I am only a few hours in. Like I just got into the guts of the station. Literally, I saved my game looking at the guts elevator before I came here.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And I am hooked.
The game's great.
Yeah, the gameplay is fantastic. I've played similar-ish games where it like gave you the environment to mess with, but I always just ended up just relying on my weapons and not really caring. This game has made me like use the environment and feel really engaged. Like half just through the glue cannon alone, like made me feel engaged with the world. The first moment where I was like, this game's really open-ended and I love it, was when I took the glue cannon and used it to make a path up a wall to get to a position that I couldn't repair the lift to get up to.
Yeah. And
I was like, I can really mess with this world in a lot of interesting ways. The plot, too, like, immediately pulled me in whenever, like, I've told you this before. I don't know if I've ever said it on the objective perspective before.
I don't know. We'll see.
But unreliable narrators in plots.
I think you have. We talked about Black Ops 3 on here. I'm going to argue we probably have.
Then I'll just say it again, to bear repeating. Unreliable narrators are something I love in like elements or in most stories, because I think you can do a lot of interesting things when your character is not somebody you can completely trust, even like as you're following them and as they're like the protagonist and you're pushing forward with them. Yeah. And this game does that through it does things through amnesia that, like, you know, amnesia's something we've seen all the time in stories, but they're really playing on it and they're really getting like interesting with it. Especially with the introduction of January and your recording that you left for yourself, or maybe you didn't.
Oh no.
That's like the biggest question that's like blowing my mind right now, because I took when December contacted me, I went ahead and did it. Like I went back to the simulation room where there was supposed to be an escape pod key, but Alex had maybe taken it.
Yeah.
I got a recording from I got a transmission from Alex. I was told was live. how do I know any of these live transmissions are actually live is another question.
Yeah.
Like, the game is making me question every part. And then when I was supposed to go meet December in January, just killed him. Just immediately killed him without me getting to, like, actually face-to-face talk, well, face to robot talk to December, and was like, oh, this was an old model, or maybe something worse. And I'm like, how do I know you're not an old model or maybe something worse?
Dun, dun, dun.
Because they talk about the Typhoon can mess with people's heads, like, directly. And I've seen it, you know, in the game, you see it corrupt other operators in ways to just make them aggressive. Could it do other things? And the fact that it has all this, like, narrative freedom built into its world is really cool. That, like, it adds so much weight to everything it's throwing at you because of how the world is built around it, which is fantastic world building, which was another thing in it. Fantastic world building. There's no, like, opening cutscene that explains the, like, alternate history of the game, but, like, you get to see
it's like Kennedy and the Soviets worked together to build this fucking giant. It
build
is
Talos
It
1,
is so weird.
And I think the exposition is handled really well on that because you just learn it naturally through the world.
You're just like picking up magazines and stuff as you walk around. It's really
Which
great.
is another thing that I think, like, the amnesia angle, like, really helps with that, because you feel clueless and, like, you're in the middle of something much bigger than yourself and you don't know what to do with that information.
Yeah, it uses amnesia in the right way where your character does know this place was built by the Soviets and Kennedy. Like, you know that far back, but you don't know this far forward, and so it gives you enough to explain what is actually going on Talos 1 enough, or they explain that, but not, like, enough to be like, your character doesn't know anything about the world, obviously.
Yeah, but as the player, I mean, okay, as me at least, who didn't really do a bunch of research on this game before I bought it, I didn't know any of this angle.
Well, no,
so
I didn't. No one
interesting,
knew that stuff when they first played the game. Like, they didn't tell you any of that stuff, even
which
in
is
promotional stuff.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, and I think they make it feel really organic the way that you can find it in the world.
That's what I was arguing was, like, that they hit you over the head with what's happening on Talos 1 because there's no way to really know that unless they do tell you, but they're not going to hit you over the head with, like, also, I'm glad Kennedy let us get up. Like, they don't do that bullshit. They're like, you just read a book and it's kind of like there, or you look at emails and it hints at it.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good.
I think it handles morality choices really well in the game too. I ran into my first, like, kind of morality choice, I'd say, when I found a prisoner in psychotronics.
Yeah.
Who they were experimenting on, had been locked and left there after, like, everybody had run. But then I request his record and it shows me, like, he's most likely done most of these horrible things. And even he's like, no, they made that up just to make it easier to experiment on me. And I'm sitting there like, you know, they could have done that. Because it's hard to convince somebody to really, like, experiment on another human being unless they've been dehumanized in the experimenter's eyes in some way. Yeah. So I'm like, I think it handles ambiguity both, like, narratively and morally really well. As well as, like, a lot of the gameplay elements are mixed in with the plot in fun ways, which I love that because, you know, it's a video game. Like, if the story elements and the gameplay mechanics don't have some kind of connection, then the story could just be a movie and the game could just be a game. It's like, I'll still play games where it's like the story elements don't directly impact how the narrative works.
Yeah.
But when it does have that, that's always something I'll appreciate. So, and, like, the Typhoon powers are, like,
so how are you investing your points?
Thus far, I've only invested them in human powers. I haven't picked up any Typhoon psycho abilities yet.
Are you going to?
I'm not certain because of everything that dropped when I first, like, because Alex, who I don't know if I can trust Alex because he's locked me in a simulation of the same day over and over again, which I had agreed to go in, but he skipped him, or for some reason everybody around. Obviously Alex knows because he was there in the first simulation day, like, with you. Like, he's been skipping the part where they're supposed to fill you in on, like, everything that you've forgotten when they ripped your neuromods out.
Yeah.
Which was, like, what I told myself in the recording. But Morgan Yu I like as a character, just, like, the way he fits into the world and everything.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think he's really well integrated. I like that if they're going to pick, you know, when you pick the character, there's always still a set first and last name. Yeah. Even though you can pick, male or female. That's all you get as far as choices go. But
all you get is the gender binary.
But just the way you said that.
I still think it's weird that they have to put male and female at the bottom instead of like I wish they just took those away and I'd probably feel way better about the option
just like,
picking.
like this one and this one and
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah. But I like that this is still a set character in the world. But even then, I still feel like I'm discovering this character along the way.
Yeah, because your character is discovering your character.
Yeah, and you're still a separate person from that person in a lot of ways because you don't have their experiences from Talos 1 onward.
So have you read like the emails of people talking about Morgan Yu as you walk around? They're like, Morgan Yu's a real piece of shit.
Yeah, I've read
and, like that's like my favorite thing maybe in the game.
And I love when you see emails from yourself to other people and you're like, man, I sound
kind of a dick.
Yeah, at least like Morgan seems like he was a very cold person with a lot of people.
There's like some really good characterization of the character you're playing as, and also,
I would say even the characters around you, like all of them have these humanish qualities to them.
I don't want to like spoil this for you, but I'm not gonna spoil it for you. I think you're waiting for the second shoe to drop in this game, like the big. It's never gonna come. I'm not gonna let you know that right now. Like it's still pretty subversive in some areas, but like the reason I really dig this game in a way is this first shoe drops and you want the second shoe to drop, but you're just stuck in a corporation building with corporate people in this very boring area, and you're going through this fucking alien infestation, and you're just reading corporate emails and being like, I'm gonna call HR. I think there's something wrong going on here.
Which I love.
It's so good. It's so like funny that like the obviously the first people getting the problem are like you're calling HR to be like, yeah, I think there's a problem. Everyone's like, I think it's fine. And like that's the real first shoe to drop on Talos 1 to be like, what the fuck's going on? The problem was someone calling HR and going like, there's like some weird pipe problems here. And like that was the real first problem was like someone texting HR. That was the real first showing. There's like so much cool stuff you find in that game. I'm actually really excited to see what you want to play more of it.
And I like even knowing that there's not going to be some like enormous plot twist like very early on or even like that, it still has enough elements that have kept me again, the January-December discrepancy has me interested, especially when you search Dead December and you find a note that's just labeled M.
Yeah.
Which, you know, my first thought is Morgan.
Yeah, of course.
But M is just M. Like it could be anyone.
If you kill January right when the game starts, if you just walk up there and kill January, December will be alive then.
Huh.
And you can just talk to December.
So you can make like a lot of choices. And December is leading.
You can't make a lot. This game, people think there's like a huge like. This game's very small and very tightly constructed.
But I like that. Like,
it's great.
Everything feels like tightly, and
everything is where it belongs.
Yeah, and I like that little changes can make big changes in other areas, like the January December thing.
Yeah.
To be fair, up until January killed December, I never really felt I had a reason to distrust January because I had told me to trust January. And also that I and everyone on the station and the station had to be killed and destroyed to prevent the typhoon from hitting Earth, which makes sense. But then December rolls around and says, grab your brother's escape pod, get off of Talos 1.
Yeah, you
don't have to die.
There's some really cool stuff that they do with side quests and characters later on that I don't want to spoil or won't get more into. It's real good. That game and Players on Battleground are fighting for my Game of the Year list, and I think about the ending of that game people do not like. I'll just let you know that right away. And I think it's incredibly good, the ending. I really like the ending of that game a lot. The last bit of that game's a bit of a slog. But I love the ending of that game so much. It's so cool and so like interesting. So I'm excited to see what you think of that game as this year goes on. Hopefully you get around to beating it. It's a bit of a trek, but it's a fun game.
And I am interested to see what I feel about it as it goes on, because I think thus far, at least, as far as I've gotten, the writing's been solid. The world is interesting, and I want to like know more about it. The gameplay works really well.
Yeah.
And like the fact that like getting typhoon powers has like these detriments, as well as like, you know, January's like, remember the whole reason this started was because of the typhoon powers.
But you can make fire with your hand,
which is still so tempting. I'm just staring at my psycho bar.
You can also turn into a coffee cup,
which is the most tempting.
That game does the best thing I like in gaming, which is it gives you 35 options to figure a puzzle out or figure out how to walk through a door. That you're like, I have 25 options to get through a door. Let's see how I'm doing it this time. Turning into a paint can, and you like fly across the room, and
Yeah.
Incredible. Or like
just going with like the run and gun option is still like fun.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah.
did you
It's a game that doesn't feel like it punishes you for playing it how you want to play. It's just you got to learn how to build it around how you want to play.
there's a part where that prisoner conundrum before that there's like downstairs there's like a funeral or like a place where they put dead bodies. Remember that area?
The morgue, yeah.
Yeah, the morgue. How'd you get into the door?
I broke the window and used the huntress, the like foam bolt to hit the button.
To hit the button. So you know what I did?
I
Turned it into a coffee cup and just rolled in. And like that's
Wait, where
why
did
I
you
like the
roll
game.
in? Like,
So there's
through
like
the
that
or-
window, yeah, but there's like a little small hole there. I just jumped up on that ledge and then just turned into a coffee cup and just rolled in and then unturned out and was like, I'm a god.
That's brilliant. Yeah,
it's so
like,
much fun.
and that's the brilliance of the design in that game. Like,
Yeah.
that you and I can have these totally different ways to achieve the same goals.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like there's like
You can wait for the engineer bot to open the door because I
True.
remember finding that information in an email.
Did you I'm guessing you have like the grenades that you throw that turn things into material.
Yeah.
So you can literally just see like rooms that are blocked off. It says like you need level 3 carrying and just drop that grenade there and get in. Like that game is so good.
I didn't even think
you don't
about
even think
that,
about it,
then
and you're
I'm
like, oh
my
shit,
god, that makes so much sense.
I can just I can literally break down the object in my way and get steel out of it and then just move on.
That's brilliant.
It's so like I know people who got stuck in areas and then were like, how do I get out? And someone's like, yo, just throw that grenade up there and like get out. And they're like, oh fuck, I didn't even think about that. And like that game's really good.
It's so smart. And like and the
Um,
fact that it creates materials, like going back to the crafting system, and
yeah.
like the crafting system feels really well integrated, and I like it, and I enjoy it.
Yeah,
It's nice and simple.
what you're able to craft as the game goes on makes the game incredibly fun.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Uh,
I'm already having fun, and I have like 6 options right now.
What can you craft? Just like throw them at me real quick. I'm trying to remember.
9mm ammo, med kits. I got neuromods as a thing I can craft. The propulsion system, but thus far I've had
Just craft neuromods. Like don't stop.
I've been mostly crafting med kits just because, well, I haven't gotten back to a fabricator since I unlocked the ability to craft neuromods.
I will literally just sit down and be like, it's a little annoying because like, you can only craft one thing at times. You like craft, and pick it up. But like, and that game becomes like, yo, you won't find enough neuromods to level up. You need to craft neuromods now. And you're like just crafting, you're like dropping like 30 neuromods. That game's incredibly cool. I
love it. Like
I love that game.
I've just really been enjoying it.
I love walking into the first airlock room and finding out the story that people who made the hunter bow are just like sitting around in areas above you, just fighting each other with hunter bows because they're really bored.
Yeah,
engineers.
and that, again, like that's so human.
It's like so like and they're like, hey, you like go up
they
there.
use company resources just to make this
some
like
dumb
foam
boat
bolt
caster.
caster.
Everyone's like, make them stop, and they're like, how?
They're like, we can't.
Yeah, it's super funny.
And it's so great. Like the game has, for like all the like melodrama and like seriousness of it, it does have this great sense of humor in so many areas too.
It's very human. It's like very
It
much
is.
like it's very much like the way I really like is like just the shoe drops, you jump in. I almost feel like the intro is really good. I really like the intro. I almost feel like it doesn't fit in the game in a way where like the shoe drops are in and people are like, all right, what's next? And you're like, nothing. You're in a corporation. There's just a bunch of people here who were in a corporation who got killed, and you're trying to figure out what happened.
Though in the same way, I think that's an excellent way to drop you into the game.
yeah.
To get you in this mindset and then subvert that.
Yeah, and you're like, oh no, you're
expectation.
actually just walking around the space station and like reading people's stories about like being like, what the fuck's going on over here?
It's like the mundane side of a fantastical situation.
I know, it's why like I love it so much. When
Yeah.
like you break out and you're like, I'm out in the world, and it's like, no, you're like in some like dumb corporation building that were like, you obviously like the higher ups really fucked up here, and like all the people are dying, and
Yeah,
you're
it's
like just walking
"Ah,
around.
I'm in a space station. It's like you're in a corporate space station, and it feels that way. Like even the aesthetic of it feels like semi-corporate, like nice.
It's very new agey corporate. Where like, oh, there's the recreation room and there's the workout area, and you never have to leave, never go home, and like it's super good. I like it a lot.
And again, like the characters in it, like that you're mostly just learning about through their emails and through their interactions before the typhoon all broke out.
Yeah,
makes it feel weirdly real for a game that you like run around, shoot fireballs out of your head, and turn into a coffee pot.
Yeah,
or
it's
cup.
incredible, and also the enemies are really fun. Like the mimics are a really cool idea.
I love that. Like it's the baseline like mob enemy that still is a threat.
So you found obviously the headgear,
and
and
I've
so
been
you
using
found the
that like
mimic
crazy,
thing that spots mimics.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff's really good. I also like how like it compounds enemies. So like you have the wrench that beats, you have the wrench and the glue gun that beats mimic. Then you get the pistol, which is really good against that's the real killer for mimics. And they introduce like the phantoms, and pistols are not good against phantoms. Then you find the shotgun, and then you're like, now what's next?
I just got the shotgun, and I have been having a blast.
And then and this game's really cool. It has like very little amount of weapons. Like you found the shotgun, which is like in-tier gun.
I was gonna say, I've noticed that like my weapon wheel is already almost full, and like half of it's grenades and
two more guns.
There's a fucking foam. Yeah, I was gonna say, obviously I know the Q-beam thing is in it because I keep finding ammo for the Q-beam.
The Q-beam.
Yeah, the Q-beam. And my neuro thing keeps telling me that like these things are weak to the Q-beam, but I don't have it yet.
I didn't get the Q-beam until like the end of the game. I think you can get it way earlier because you can probably get everything in that game really early. I just didn't see it.
Which is also something I like, is that like a lot of what feels like late game like weaponry can be found almost immediately.
Did you get the stun gun yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, stun gun is like one of the best guns also stun gun's my favorite gun in the whole game.
Because the stun gun is like something I've hardly used.
I shoot it against a mechanical enemy, kills him instantly.
Okay, I'm gonna have to keep that in mind.
It's like like you see a server turn, you're like, and just shoot it, and it goes like, I'm dead.
All the turrets that aren't corrupted or anything are all on my side because I haven't adopted any Typhoon powers.
But you want turning into a cup dog.
It's so tempting.
It's
but
very
it's also
good.
like narratively, I'm like, should I take?
But
also,
you can
like,
shoot fireballs out of your skull.
I say it's a role playing game in a lot of ways, and I'm like, I like the aspect that I'm like, I can get into this character, and and the world feels full enough that I want to like get myself into it and think in its laws and in its rules.
Yeah.
Which is why I haven't picked up any Typhoon powers. I'm like, this is why we're here.
On my first playthrough, all I got was the coffee cup. All I got was Morph 1 because...
I'm thinking like Psycho Blast if I'm going to get anything.
But I think you turn into a coffee cup.
Yeah, I was going to say, you keep saying it and it keeps sounding fantastic.
Because I'd be like, I'm a trash can, haha, and then like roll away.
And I loved reading one of the emails where like mimics copy things that they see, especially coffee cups. They have a weird affinity for those. And I'm like, that feels like such a like humanized observation of these things. Like, man, these things really like coffee cups. Or I read an email and they're like theorizing how the mimics work. And they're like, okay, guys, we got 3 options here. My money's on number 2. And it's like, do they just like use the head of the other person to make them think they're that when they're not? Do they transport the other thing to another pocket dimension and then they occupy its space? Or do they actually change their molecular structure and like become that? And the person's response was, I pick option 4, magic, because all the other shit I've seen on this station.
There's a really great, we're talking about like, oh, how fast do phantoms move? And it's like, oh, they literally enter a different dimension than we do, them pop out somewhere else. That's why they move so fast.
Yeah, they talked about like, like when they first traveled to our solar system, it probably felt like 10 seconds to them.
It's like an incredibly weird, like, and cool. I love walking in the room with like, with stickiness that all say, this is not a mimic, this is not a mimic.
Oh god, yes, that scene was like, it was simultaneous, like it freaked me the hell out, but I also understood it. Like I was like, I would probably be doing the same thing if they broke out, and I'm like, okay, I know this is real, I know this is real, I know this is real, and if something pops up that doesn't have a sticky note on it, I'm gonna shoot it.
So I almost think, and I think after like a lot of stuff set up before the outbreak, and they didn't have time to set up for an outbreak. So I think that's just pre-outbreak. Like they were just worried that there could be an outbreak and it would happen there. So like they're just paranoid people to be like, no, fuck that, it's not gonna be on our watch.
Yeah.
And they're just scared. Like it's like they're dealing with this crazy shit and they're like, well, fuck it. Everything gets a sticky note. And it's like a really great moment. So you walk in there and some things do not have a sticky note on.
Yeah, and
it's really good.
It's really good. Like again, like there's so many human qualities they give to people that aren't there. Like and even Alex, like just the way he talks to you feels like he's like, I miss my brother.
Yeah.
Not what you are now. Like he is recognizing like the man next to him is a reset, like way back when version of his brother that's changing in a different way because he hasn't, obviously he doesn't remember anything after he got to Talos 1 because that was the day he installed his first neuromod was right before he went in. And it's so cool. Like the writing is really good.
It's real good.
which makes me wonder if I'm going to like the ending. We'll see.
Yeah, a lot of people decide. I would talk about it with you if you didn't like it. I'd be like, no, this is why you're wrong, and I have a discussion.
I'd love to discuss it whether or not I like it.
One day you'll finish it.
Yeah, I'm also somebody who like goes out and does so much side shit and like takes my time in games like that. So it's gonna take a little while.
But speaking of role-playing games that we've been playing, but this one's not good. I've been playing Fallout 4 on my downtime.
It has the best gameplay for being the worst overall.
Yeah, and like, and it's like saying like the gameplay is like, and it's all right. Like the gameplay's totally all right.
Yeah, which
works.
which is a huge improvement from almost unplayable, which is my opinion of a lot of Fallout New Vegas and 3. Is that if VATS wasn't in Fallout 3 or New Vegas, they would not be playable games.
See, like I can still totally play all those games easily. Where like Fallout 4, I'm like, oh, I can aim down sights a little better. And like the gunplay's a little more smooth.
It's like the gunplay actually functions properly, and like Fallout New Vegas and 3, it's like the gunplay is non-existent. You wait for VATS to recharge and fight that way.
You develop your gun stats, so your gun doesn't miss as much. That's how it works.
I did. I had level 100 guns, and the gun system still doesn't work.
Maybe you're just bad at games, and that's just the real truth. But I've been playing that game, and I'm starting to see why people would like Fallout 4 a lot more than I did the first time. I was much more obstinate back in my youth, instead of now where I'm much more high class and level-headed with my opinions.
Yeah, I will say, like, I've gone back and played games that I, like, vehemently defended as a child, and I'm realizing, like, my taste has changed. Or at least, like, I'm able to better recognize things that don't work, and I'm way worse at just getting over them and enjoying it, which part of me wonders if, like, man, I kind of wish I could go back to just enjoying it. I'd have a lot more fun with video games.
I was mostly making a joke of them being like, I just understand why people would like this game, and it's really interesting what people want out of Fallout 4 and why they like it, and what I want out of Fallout games is Fallout 4 is a really bad story. It's all pretty not great. I think the one good twist is getting in the Institute and being like, "It's your son was the leader all along," and I think it's all right.
That really well.
Yeah, I think that's like all right. Yeah. I think it's the one good story beat. After that, it's all garbage.
Yeah. I will say, like, it doesn't. Now that I've especially played Prey, and that's fresh in my mind, and how that like influences you to get into the world, Fallout 4 kind of fails in that regard.
Fallout 4's theming is really bad because Fallout's all about making fun of the old world and how rampant consumerism and like wartime like propaganda was really bad and really gross.
And it's fun to see like how it messes with like those ideologies still being present after the bombs.
Yeah, then like, and when the bombs drop and you're the person who's been in that world, you're like, man, what is this weird garbage these people had? But when you play someone who was there when rampant consumerism and the wartime stuff was like something to think about, to honor, it changes the whole theming of the game where you want it to be like it was, when in reality what it was really bad, and you can make something new out of something awful.
What it was led to what happened, led to the bombs dropping and everybody being dead. Like,
yeah, so like what it was, you don't want what it could be, and like this is what this game's all about. It's like, oh no, what it could have been was, we should make it back to what it used to be, when like, no, you should make it to something better. And like that's what Fallout New Vegas is like. Why I like New Vegas is the final ending is, I'm gonna make a better world. Mm-hmm. That's the best ending of Fallout New Vegas.
Is the
best ending.
Is the wild card.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this because all of you every one of those people suck.
And they embrace some kind of old world ideology.
Yeah, NCR is like huge country, but like fucked up democracy doesn't work correctly. Kaiser's Legion is like the best will win. Militaristic takeover, which is awful. A house is just a bad person who is rampant capitalism and greed and just terrible. And then there's like you, who's like, I understand all these faults, I'm gonna deal with it. And then you do, and that's a good ending.
Yeah, and I like that idea because it leaves it very open-ended.
Yeah.
But
to what you think is good.
But you're also talking to somebody who did side with the NCR.
Everyone sides with the NCR the first place. That's because you think that's the most familiar, good.
Yeah,
you're like,
but
no.
You see how it affects people.
And then you get older and you're like, oh, I fucked up. This is actually bad, is like what it really turns out to be. You're like, oh, I've gotten older and I can discern this shit doesn't work anymore. And doesn't work now, but doesn't work, especially in the post-apocalyptic future. So I like that a lot. So Fallout 4 is really more about exploring than like finding a story. It's like, I'm gonna go out there and explore this really beautifully handcrafted worlds. It's
And
nice.
some people really love it, and I do like the look of that game.
I think the game looks fantastic. I think it's like beautifully constructed and like beautifully made, but hollowingly empty is like how I would describe it. Is like it's a really great scene dressing game with no good story behind it.
And it's like, I will say, I did feel more of an engagement in the world of Fallout 3 and New Vegas than I felt with the world of Fallout 4. But I enjoyed playing, like, actually getting into gunfights in Fallout 4 more than I enjoyed them in Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3.
There's a weird part of me that I think Fallout 4 is better than 3. Like, in my head, is like, I like New Vegas the most, then like 2, 1, 3, 4, 3. Because 3 it gives me really bad side quests, really bad stories. It has a world that's very bleak and unmemorable for me, especially. But like I've been playing Fallout 4 again, and like I like exploring in that game. I like going into weird bunkers and finding weird shit down there, and like
Which it does.
And
a
then
great
jumping
job
into like
of,
the
yeah.
Massachusetts law house, and then going to the bottom of the Mire Alert. Queen jumps out, and I shoot her with a rocket launcher 10 times, and like that's still enjoyable. And like there's funness to be had there. It's just there's no like.
Swan.
Oh yeah, Swan was
I
like.
love that.
But like
encounter
3
with
didn't
Swan,
have
yeah.
any of that for me. So it's like the behemoth appears, but like around God, what was the
The
Galaxy
train
News Radio is
Oh,
like when I
Galaxy
think
News
about it.
Radio,
Yeah, and that's just one train station do. But like Swan's a way better encounter than any of the behemoths ever were. It's like it's an interesting like weird thing. Like it's the Swan at Swan Lake is a giant creature monster.
Mhm.
It's really funny.
And everybody's like, beware. And you
Yeah,
see all
beware
these
the
signs,
Swan.
they're
Yeah, and I'm
"Beware
like,
the
fuck
Swan," and you're
this.
like,
And you walk over the
yeah,
shotgun.
that's how like everybody feels the first time if they haven't talked to their friends, and they're like, what? Nah, I bet there's loot in there. There's gonna be some raiders. Then you walk up and you just like see him rise up out of the swamp, and you're like, oh no, I'm not ready for this.
Still killed him on my first try.
I did too, but it was just me screaming
shoot the gun. That game is also really easy, and like I think all the Fallout games are really pretty easy. Is like a thing where I also like did like a weird build where I always do 10 intelligence, 1 luck because I don't like having luck in games. So it's all about skill, baby. It's like my actual thought process, which is like maybe the most weird thing. Where I was like, I need to like break this habit. I'm just gonna go 10 luck, 1 intelligence. And I saw there's a perk that lets you get 3 times the EXP.
Yeah, good old idiot savant.
Yeah, and like I just boosted. Now I'm like putting my perk points back in intelligence so I can get science and gun making stuff.
I would have loved if they had made it more like idiot savant gave you like you could like make it like a thing where you can pick exactly one like perk that is outside your range and get the max level of it or something.
Yeah.
Something a little more creative than just more XP.
Yeah, it's as always I wish it was more like the original Fallouts where like if you have low intelligence, your character can't speak correctly.
And no one wants to talk to you.
Yeah,
and
and
you
everyone thinks
can't
you're an
get certain
idiot,
quests.
and
Some
you'll
people
yeah.
might even attack you.
Yeah, like that's what's really interesting. Like that's the RPG part of me wanting.
yeah.
But like I think the exploring stuff's really cool. I wish I liked building in that game. I just think it's all awful.
God, I hated it too. I just picked one settlement to build up just to get like a home base and perks, and then that was it.
I have 2. I'm using obviously Sanctuary Hills, and I'm using the castle, which is the Minutemen place to put people there.
And then I did build up the castle a bit just because I felt obligated.
Yeah, and so I'm doing that, and I'm enjoying the game, but like not a lot. I'm putting on podcasts. It's like my podcast game. I really wanted a game to play with my podcast. That's what I've been doing. Is like for like a couple hours, I'll just play it and then just listen to like a podcast I've been wanting to listen to for a bit. Something enjoyable, maybe some politics, maybe some video games, something to give me something tangibly nice, instead of just listening to like the radio in Fallout 4, which I still think doesn't have as good music as 3 or New Vegas. So.
It had some good music.
It has good music. I just don't think it's comparatively to 3 or
No.
New Vegas isn't as good. I like Butcher Pete more than any song on
Oh
Fallout 4.
God damn it! I hate that song.
It's the best song.
I hated it the first time I heard it, and I grew to hate it more every consecutive time I heard it.
Best song.
I stopped listening to the radio in Fallout 3 after a certain point.
I just put it on my own radio on my phone. The future's now. Name Butcher Pete. Yeah, it's great.
I hate it. I hate it.
Tell you a little story.
Hate it.
So that's good. And then my second game that I've been putting time into has that I have not stopped putting time into has been what me and Thomas have also played as well. It's PlayerUnknown Battleground.
Oh yeah, I've been also playing that a lot.
We've been playing that, and it's been
that and Rainbow Six Siege have been my 2 like.
I don't want to talk
multiplayer
about
games.
Siege. Most people I feel like if I talk about Siege once, I've talked about Siege every time now. Like I don't have a story to come out of Siege with. For like if I play PlayerUnknown Battleground, there's a story almost every time I come out of that game was when I play with you or Josh or just me and Alejandro, like with my friends.
Yeah, it's a game that like enables that because of how big and open it is while you're playing.
Like when me and Dro won, like when it was us four and you and Josh had died like right before us, and then like it was me and Dro at the end. Like that's a good story to tell. We're like, so it comes down to this. So it's me and Dro in a car and Josh and Thomas in a car. And then they go ahead of us. I flip the car. I flip our motorcycle over. I'm like, we'll run it. And you're like, we'll come back. I'm like, no, don't come back. And I see you get back in the car to like come back. Because you're like, I'll get him back. And then Josh goes down. And then you're like, fuck shit. And then you go down. And so me and Dro are like booking it up this massive hill right behind this school. And we know everyone's coming up around us. We're getting shot in the back constantly. It's a real invigorating. It's a real horror show. It's invigorating.
That game is such a rush at times.
Yeah, and so we're running. We get this like two small shacks. He gets the right shack. I get the left shack, and we just plant. I'm like, no, we're staying here. Drink up. I'm not gonna give you any of my shit. I didn't tell him what I had because I know Dro does this thing when he plays games that's really annoying, and I get very annoyed by him. He does this. He hard focuses, where he tunnel visions so hard. You can't talk to him. He tunnel vision so hard. He won't give you any information. He's there.
I know from playing Siege with Dro.
You know, players on Battleground with Dro, he just tunnel visions into an extreme way where you're like, I'm not going to get any info from him, so I'm not going to tell him anything. I'm going to let him handle his side, and I'm going to handle my side. And so I have a silenced, God, did I even have a silenced gun? I think I had a silenced, I had an ump and an M16. I had an ump and a, what did you fart, you gross man? I had an ump, and Josh wanted to get the M16. I kept the ump because I believed in the ump more than the M16. I was too close. Got some kills, got some silencers. We're planted here. And then Dro doesn't say anything and then just starts shooting at this guy who obviously found him. He didn't give me any warning. So he gets him, luckily. Thank fucking Christ. And we're like, okay. And this is like the time of like, we have to figure out how we're going to approach this very small circle. Are we going to go left or right? And I pick right. We juice up. Go. I grab an AK, put no scopes on it, put the silencer on it, and just run. So I'm like, fuck this. It's either now or never. I'm going for it. And luckily, I'm a good shot. There was one dude like over the side who like had just killed someone, was running up to his body. I picked him 3 times. The head was done. And so every time you do that, it feels so invigorating. Where like I didn't want to play anymore. I was done. Like that was my moment. I'm like, all right, that's good. Today's done. Played a few more rounds. They ended poorly. I didn't care as much. And B was like, I'm so fucking done. I'm on cloud 9. I won a game again. It sounds like my 4th game win too. I think 4th or 5th. I can't remember the time you and Josh and me won. I can't remember that. And apparently we did, and I totally forgot. Do you remember that?
That's the only win I remember.
So
I don't remember
give me that one and tell me. That was when me and Dro won the last night. That was the one.
Night?
That might have been me, Josh, and Neil.
I was going to say, I was not there.
You weren't there. That was like a real crazy round.
I have only ever won
That might have been
game.
Neil who died, and we're like,
and that came down to like, it was like just you at the end. Josh and I were both dead, and we were like in the middle of a field. And, no, I wasn't dead. I went down. But no, it might have been me and Josh.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think I might have died.
That's right. Yeah, you were dead. It was me and Josh. We were in the middle of the field, and there was like 2 rocks right in the middle of the final zone, or at least like almost the smallest thing. And I got downed, and I was like freaking out. And then we looked at the count. We realized, oh, there's 3 people left. I got downed by the last guy.
I remember this.
So I just started crawling out towards him, and then he started shooting. I was like, all right, Josh, he's over on the southeast. Josh like, awesome, pulled out, because we had pretty decent gear. We pulled out like his AKM and just like blew him away. And that was the first time I realized it actually says winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Oh yeah, win. It's like people want that chicken dinner because it is a chicken dinner. It's an incredible feeling when you win that game. Like it is like
because you beat 100 other people.
Yeah, you're like, I beat 97 other people or whatever it was.
Even though you probably only encountered like 10 max.
I feel like if you win the game, like if you kill 10 people, you've fucking done something.
Oh, I mean, like you've only encountered 10. I'm not even talking about like 1.
I feel like when you get to the end of the game, like no matter what, you're encountering 20 other people with you.
I was gonna say, like, I think the most kills I've had in a game of PUBG was 5 or 6.
It's true. It can get rough.
But I've seen people get like 12 or 13 from like clips online. I watched like some guy, a group of people had coordinated that weren't on the same team, but like there was 10 of them, and they coordinated by just all wearing red shirts. They could all identify each other. So this guy found a red shirt out in spawn, put one on, and just ran with them for a while. And then when they were all in the same building, like looking around, they're all like in one room waiting for something. and he just kind of walks calmly out of the room, pulls out a frag grenade, throws it right in the middle, gets 9 of them, pulls out a gun, and shoots the other guys that didn't go down. It was like I simultaneously hated him and extremely respected him.
I think I'm gonna remember every win of that game, and by that I mean I probably forgot already a few. But I think my first win I'm never
Like the
gonna
one
forget.
I just told you about.
The first win, I remember when I'm alive. It's like really the big thing. I don't remember when I'm alive. The first one is still my most excited win in this game. Was we were in the garage building. The left there's like small, and there's a wizard tower to our left, and the circle is closing in. And we're not actually well kitted. I have like an okay gun, but we're not strong. Armor wise, helmet wise. I don't think I had a helmet. We had made it to the end, but we knew these people like, and to our left both had like SKSs and cars, and we're just firing from this wizard tower. We're sitting in the garage like, if we go out before they do, we're done.
Yeah.
But if one of us hangs back when the circle comes and shoots them when they're going out, we can maybe win. And so my friend Neil thinks I'm the better shot, and I cannot agree or disagree with that.
You're
I think
pretty
he's
good shot in PUBG.
I'm a pretty all right shot. I think he might be as good as me as a shot. So I wouldn't. But he's like, it was not a time to argue and be like semantics. Actually, I think you're the good shot, and you should take.
It's a time.
No,
to
let's
just,
go.
Freaking.
And so he hops up to the left, and I go right, and he downs them both while they're in the blue. Downs one of them in the blue, and the other guy gets nicked enough times that he just falls down and he kills them both, and then he just goes down. He's dead. Just that because we're at the part where the blue takes like, you can't heal out of the blue, and that he had just shot them enough that the blue caught up and pretty much stalled them. So there's 3 people left in duos, and it's me and then one other person and then one other person. Then we're all on opposite teams, and we're like on this like weird ass ridge hill that's like separated by 2 sides, and I'm on the right side and they're both on the left, and I can hear them starting to fight. I just creep over a little bit and just see one dude and just shoot him once, and he instantly goes down and win. And I had never felt like, I still feel like the most like tenseness of being like, and getting up. You just get up and go, fuck yeah, it's me, me, I'm the winner. And then you like get up and leave.
Yeah, there's like no bigger sense of accomplishment in gaming right now to me than winning a round of PUBG.
No, it's so hard, and it feels like you're the biggest man.
So little.
You're
at
like,
least for like me and like my group, like it makes me so happy when I see that screen.
It's like a real fucking trial
Made
by
me
fire.
so happy. I've only seen it once.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like, and when we got so close that one time too, when me and you first played together, I got second place and you died like 30 minutes earlier.
I played a solo round too, like later in that day, and I made it to 3rd in a solo, and I felt fantastic.
Yeah, you're like, I accomplished a lot today.
It's like just making it to number 3 feels fantastic, and especially in solo queue, where that one, like, you feel even more like I beat 97 other people. Like, I didn't beat a few people who were lugging behind a bad teammate. I beat each and every one of them.
See, I'd almost argue it's harder to do duos or squads. Like, you knock them down, but you're like, I have to deal with 3 other people that are also going to be like, that dude's doing call-outs now.
It's like, even if they're like not good, like, just sheer numbers can outwin or can win against skill.
I mean, me and Josh always like to carry around bad teammates.
Yeah.
I look at you directly in the face, you fucking scum. Also, like, that game's just fun. We have so much fun in that game. Like,
though we also get really frustrated with each other in that game.
I get so mad, too.
You've gotten extremely mad at me.
I've gotten mad at you. There's, like, specifically 3 times there's 2 times I've gotten specifically very mad. One I'll never let go, which is, I was like, yo, there are people in here. We have to fight them. They're going to shoot me. And you're like, nah, just run. And we were behind you by a fair bit. And so you're, like, ahead just running. We're like, no, like, we can't. They're coming out. And you're like, nah, I'm looting. And then we all got killed, and you were like, why didn't you just run? If we ran, all right, I'm not going to have this fight again. And the second time was Josh and I going, we're going to go fight these guys. You have to come with us.
And I say,
and
I can't. I can't. Have weapons.
You had a pistol at this point, and you said you did. I remember that specifically. And you were like,
I need something better or we're going to lose.
And we're like, no, we need to go now because they're not going to have anything either. We're fine. And you're like, I'm looting, and me and Josh had already started going. We're like, well, we had to go. Like, we had to deal with this problem before it kills us. And then it killed me and Josh. and then you're like, I'm looting, and then you got killed, and I was like, I fucking hate Thomas so much that I don't even want to play this game anymore.
I remember that.
I was so mad. Because the next round I just left. I did something, I killed 3 people by myself and just spawned away from you guys. I was like, sorry, I'm just looting here. I didn't know we need to be a team.
Exactly.
And you're like, I deserve this. And then Josh was like mad because I was doing that. It was an incredibly
but he got mad at me because you were doing that.
He was mad at both of us. I think
he was madder at me.
I think he was madder at you because of what you had started. And he was mad at me for going down the darkest part of the road I could have gone down at that moment. It was a good night.
It was a horrible night. That is the worst experience I've had playing vodka.
There's been a few where Josh has gotten really mad at me, which was when I just goof off completely, where I'll like land on top of the power plant and go hole in one and then jump off, and then Josh has died, and I'm like being like, oh, come on, Josh, it's okay. And he's like, I'm so fucking mad right now.
Those are some of my fondest memories where we've had rounds where we were like, okay, we had just gone real ham on like the last round and done pretty well. Like, let's have a goof off round so we can have a palate cleanser here.
I think adding car horns to that game has been like the best.
Worst thing that has happened.
You're so wrong. Like when you hear me come,
I mean that in the best way possible.
Yeah,
but it's the worst thing they've added to the game.
It's a truly incredible experience to have like this part where everyone's very quiet, and then I purposely get in the car and honk the horn 3 times to scare Josh and go, "Who's that?" And I'm like, it's me.
I just remember getting like bam bam and having somebody like loop around me like 3 times honking the horn trying to hit me on another team. And then finally they come in for it and all I have is a shotgun. I was like, well, I'm not gonna win this one. Aim. And he's still honking as he's driving. We're like bam bam, boom, headshot, killed instantly because his teammates were dead. But his car hits me, downs me, and continues hitting down me and kills me. But I felt like that was like my moment.
I shined like a star that day.
Like right before the end. It's just like
that game's like incredible, full of like weird, good. That game is still like so top of my list of games this year that I played.
I think it can organically make a lot of fantastic moments.
It's what I wanted multiplayer games to be forever, that weren't like convoluted or confusing or you needed like 20 people to play like Arma.
Yeah.
It's like what I wanted the original like action movie games I thought were gonna be. You know, like when you think like of action films back in the day, the ones you're gonna hunt for, it's like people fucking up a lot or like waiting behind cover for like 10 minutes and popping out and doing like one shot, and like that's the action movie you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's what I've always thought games were gonna be. Like that's what I always assumed like it was gonna be when I was younger. And then you get like Halo, and you're like, none of that's true. It's all gonna be fast paced action. I like all that, but like I still have that craving for like that very slow. And you're looking at your friend going, I don't know, fucking pop the energy drinks. Like we're gonna have to fucking book it, I guess.
Yeah.
And like getting in the car and going, bam, 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 and then getting shot 35 times and dying.
And I love it. Like
it's a great experience.
It is a fantastic experience. Like it's something different, and it makes for a really unique experience every game. And I love that. I will say, like, I still play other multiplayer games, and I still like I said, I play Siege and stuff. Like more like, I guess I would say more constructed, more like you're guided in a certain way and you play in a certain way.
Well, it's less open it's constrained for its very in a bad way.
I disagree.
I said not in a bad way.
Oh, I thought you said in a bad way.
No, it's good.
Yeah, it's like it's constrained in a certain way, but it's like playing a specific sport where you can't drop kick Johnny in the face without penalties. But it's like that game is such a great like change of pace when I want to like play something that just feels really unique. And I've played other games that try to do the same thing, like the culling and DayZ in a way.
Yeah.
And this one I think does it the best.
I think I said on this podcast before, but I hit the fucking mic thing. I said on this podcast before, but I'll goddamn it, I'll say it again. It did the thing that all those games fucked up in doing and giving you too much. Of being like, yo, you can craft. And be like, no, just get rid of the crafting. All right, what do you got? All you got is the loot that you can pick up on the ground, and you're on a map with a bunch of people. Okay, that's all you get. Game on.
Make it as simple as humanly possible.
Make sure that everyone can get into it, and then make it like difficult. Be like, oh, it's easy to get into, but like
hard to win.
Easy to play, difficult to master. The classic fighting game thing.
But that's like I love that.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I could pick it up immediately. Like I knew what I was doing. I knew how to play it roughly. Like. But it's the intricacies of it that you have to learn over time. The strategy, like what wins, what doesn't,
and like it's in the strategy of like working with friends is a weird thing. Like, I think it's so much, like, I know people who don't like playing with friends, and I think I can only play with friends. I really only like playing with friends because I like developing weird strategies that only you develop with your friends. Like, with Neil and I, it's a completely different strategy than I would ever get if I worked with you, or if I worked with Josh. But if I work with Josh, you, and Thomas, and I work with, like, all four of you, it becomes a completely different style of game to me all now. And then we have to, like, work for days literally on trying to figure out how to get our styles to work exactly correctly,
Like
because
in the
they
way that
don't
wins.
all the time. Thomas, they don't.
I communicate what I'm doing. Y'all just ignore it.
It's not that. It's that we're a team, and two of us have decided we need to do this. The third person should be like, all right, I understand. Even if it's not going to work, I need to work with my team. It's like if you took all the loot and said, it's all mine. I don't understand what's the problem here is, officer. And then we shot you in the head, and you're like, oh, God, I'm a big baby. And I'd be like, you are the largest child.
I am the biggest baby.
And
bow to my might.
I lost track of what I was going with there, but you got to work with the team.
It's fun to find ways to work with the team, and especially like
and when
in
we
a game
get it,
that open, it's like you can really have a lot of different play styles that you're going with.
And when we get it, it's like real crazy when like the moments all come together to work. It's like real fun when that all happens. When like
when things click.
When we're like naturally fanning out or like calling out specifically where someone is, and like everything's working correctly, or like going to take a shot, and everyone's like pausing, and we're like, I'm about to take it. Like, no, let's wait. Well, all right, back off here for a second. Like thinking about what we should do.
This was the element to it I love of the like. You don't engage every single person you see, because it's like you pick your battles, and that's fun. Like you survey everything, and you're like, okay, these guys have really good gear right now, and we have 3 micro Uzis. Like, we are not equipped to defeat them.
We should take them, is what I heard.
Or you can even go with another strategy, like just kind of follow them, wait for them to end up in a bad scenario where they've like just fought another team that was okay equipped, where they're now all their armor is like shot to hell, and as they're starting to loot, you and your teammates pop up over the hill and just start like raining fire on them. Yeah, like
I keep hitting the mic, and I'm gonna be sad. But
I'm sad.
I'm sad. But
I'm dead.
It's weird. Like when I play duos, I'm way more aggressive than I am on solo. Like on solo, I play like the Predator in my head, where I'm
I think that's like everybody on solo, because you don't have this like assurance that there's somebody else on your back who's gonna keep you safe. Like.
But also, I like sitting in a bush and like seeing a dude go into this like small compound that I'm already there. I'm just gonna sit in this bush and just wait. And they come out and they like look around. They're like, and then another guy comes into town. I'm like, I'm just gonna keep sitting here. Like I had a moment where this is a really cool moment in this game where I was like, there's like 3 little small village places kind of near the center of the circle. I just sat in a bush because I knew a guy was in there kind of looking around. So I was like, I'm gonna sit in this bush. I'm just gonna wait a little bit and see exactly where he is. And like a buggy rolls in, and then a motorcycle rolls in. So there's like 3 people included, and then me for the 4th, just sitting in. I'm like, I'm just in this fucking bush. I'm not gonna leave this bush. I'm gonna keep this vector out, and this is my bush now. And so I hear all this gunfire, and I just see all 3 of them like rolling in a circle, like around, like all fighting each other. Like one dude's in the middle getting caught, the other guy doesn't want to get caught by him. He doesn't want to get killed, obviously. And so they all come through, and I just pick the first dude off, second dude rolls in, pick the second dude off, third dude rolls around the corner, third dude gets picked off, and they all just 3 die. And it was this great moment of being like, I just waited like a fucking spider, like in his trap, and I killed all 3 people.
And you found them all at their like worst moment.
Where they're all like all in this like middle of this like rolling firefight. Like that's also like I like it all feels so natural because none of this is programmed. Like where you play a single player game and I hear gunfire in the distance. Okay, they're coming to get me. Got it. I figured the game, like the game's set up a moment for me. But like when you're playing Players on Battleground, you're on a roof and you're like, I'm gonna pick up this AK, and then you hear gunfire and you're like, all right, where's that coming from? And then you hear it getting closer. And then you see 2 cars, 2 UASs, and like 3 people in each car just blasting each other, and like people are like flying out of it, and they just slam into your town, and your friend and your friend are in there, and they're like, all right, get fucking ready for like we're gonna have to deal with 7 people now all of a sudden. Oh fuck, my life's a fucking nightmare.
All hopped up, like,
ready to go, and they're fighting each other, and you're just like on top of the roof, like with an AK with like 30 bullets, being like, let's fucking go, boys. And then like it's an incredibly like heart-pounding experience that I just don't get from games.
Yeah, it's like some of the best like organic moments in video games.
Yeah,
like, it sets you up to do all these things and to have all these stories and to have all these moments. And even if you lose, you walk away from it feeling like you got something out of the experience. Yeah, which is great. Like, I will lose a good game before lose a good game before I win a bad game.
It's true.
Yeah,
there was a time when like you, Thomas, and Dro were in the wizard tower, and like we're just assaulted on all sides for like a solid 5 minutes.
And that was the most like heart-pounding experience.
I was just sitting there. I would have been dead for a while.
Me in the back room, they like keep throwing smokes inside, like as if just to say we're still here. Some guys are up on top, and they'll just like rain fire into the windows if we get too close. Guys are down on the other side at the bottom, and they're waiting for an opening to rush the wizard tower, use it as cover, and kill us. And I was like, finally, one of them burst open the door, and I just like, ah! I was sitting there with like an SK-12, just like, or S-12K right on the door, and as soon as it opened, I was like, ah! Just like open fire, and I saw like one kill, one down. I was like, ah!
Yeah,
just
it was
kept
like
shooting.
everyone's
ran out of
incredibly
ammo, slammed
terrified.
the door down,
Yeah.
pulled out a grenade, threw a smoke down, ran back into the back room to reload. I'm like, they're gonna walk in, they're gonna walk in, they're gonna walk in. They're probably sitting at the bottom like, he's gonna burst out, he's gonna burst out. Like,
yeah, it feels so natural, like a weird game where like you can see human hesitation in moments of like where like you see them hesitating and like a human does.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
you connect to them in a weird way. 'Cause
Yeah.
you're like, I'm hesitating, you're hesitating, we're
It's
all
like you
hesitating.
play Call of Duty, like someone just looks at you and that gun's
Shoots you,
shooting. Or like in Players in the background, you'll see someone look at you and be like, I need to take cover or I'm gonna take the shot. And like you
Yeah.
see them pause and look at you and you're like,
where they're trying
I've
to decide,
connected
am
with
I
a
gonna
human
take
being.
a risk and shoot this guy, or am I gonna go
Peel
the
back.
safer route? Yeah, peel
Yeah.
off. And usually it's like whoever reacts first, they know the second person's gonna start shooting if the first person runs for cover, and the second person's probably gonna run for cover if the first person starts shooting.
Yeah.
Or both will just stand their ground and pick away at each other, which leads to these moments where a third person that you didn't even know was watching you starts just raining death upon you because they know they've got you in this moment. Like, yeah, it's human, and that's what makes it like so interesting.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's a really good game.
It really is.
I hope
The community is super toxic at times, and I hate them.
that's
but
just
online
multiplayer.
gaming
Yeah, it's
in general,
online. That's
so.
online communities.
I will. Rainbow Six Siege is one of the games I think like the community is either all or nothing, in that it's either like I'm having a good time, like I'm making jokes with the guys on the other team and we're all enjoying it, or they're yelling racial slurs.
It is legit. Just those two is like the weirdest thing when we play that game.
Because you'll find people in the middle in other games where they're like, this guy's kind of a jerk, but he hasn't said anything racist, and every now and then he cracks a joke.
Yeah.
But then Rainbow Six, it's like either I'm having the time of my life, just like we're like, ah, ha, ha, you got him, or like, man, your hamster's loading slow, and like
Yeah.
we're all just having a good time, and then it's like, haha, your hamster's loading slow. String of racial slurs and homophobic slurs.
Yeah, it's just
and,
like you're like
the
sitting there and
worst.
you have like one guy who's like, that was a really good shot. Like I didn't even see you there.
Yeah.
Or like, haha, I gotcha. When you're like, that was actually a really good shot. Like that was a nice move. He's like, yeah, I didn't even see that one coming. I don't think I could do that. Yeah, the one dude who just like dies and just yells the N-word and then calls everyone a homophobic slur, and then like there's just a string of that, and you're like, all right, well, all right, cool. And then like then the third match starts, and then like it just keeps going and it never stops. And you're like, I want this man to leave forever. He's awful. I'm just reporting this over
It's
and
even
over
worse
again.
whenever it's your teammate, so you can't like
I just shoot them in the head.
I've had that before, and then like there's like everybody's agreeing to kick this asshole except for one person, and you need a unanimous vote, and then they get worse because they see like 3 people but one didn't, who's probably with them.
Yeah.
It's when it's bad, it's horrid. But when Siege is good, it's fantastic. Yeah, because again, it's like people like even complimenting each other, like, dude, you ripped me a new butthole. Or even when they're like, I think there was some wonkiness there, but they like approach that in like not like a fuck you hacker. They're like, oh dude, how did that happen? It's like, man, Fuse's pucks bounce in weird ways.
My favorite time usually in Siege when no one is talking, when there's no comments. I just want it to be dead silent and me just talking to my friends, because I don't want to ever have a moment where someone's like, I hate anytime texting. I don't like typing to anyone on anything really, because no one knows your tone, and like that's my big. It's always horrible.
You see, I love when it's like in game, nobody's talking except our teammates, but then like in between matches, everybody's just like joking with each other in the chat and having a good time.
That's okay.
That's Siege at its best to me. When people are using the all chat and we're like joking with each other about what just happened, like, oh my god, you scared the hell out of me, which is a common one to me because like somebody just pops around with a shotgun and blows you apart, and you're like, you scared me. I just twitched. Like
I got terrified in a very real way.
yeah, which like I think Siege does a great. We talk about like tension in Players Unknown Battleground, which is fantastic. I think Siege does a good job of that too.
Yeah.
Especially when you're the defender.
Yeah.
Because you have this like after you've built everything and you see the timers run out for the drone phase and now they're coming.
And now you're just like,
Yeah.
where are they coming from?
You're like, where are they coming from? Because like boarding up the windows, good. And the doors, good. They can't just walk in. But then you're also like, but I can't see them very well. Like, I don't know if one of them's just going to glaze the door down and blow my brains out from across the map.
It's weird.
Yeah.
I don't see the tension almost in that anymore of like the waiting moment. So I just like understand what's going to happen. Where like now the tension is like, all right, I know where they are. How are we all going to play this out? And that's where I'm like, that's where my tense comes from now. Where I'm like, all right, the moment's on. Let's do it. How's this going to work? And it becomes a nightmare, just a nightmare of catastrophic proportions.
But it's like all this strategy against different strategy, and that's like so much fun.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's very MOBA-ish.
Except like good.
Arguable at this point.
Take that,
That's
MOBAs.
Those NAT type problems on Rainbow Six Siege is a real hassle.
Working on.
Game's been out for 2 years.
I know.
We'll probably talk more about it, or I will at least when the new characters start coming out. And
which is like next week is the 3 new operators dropping.
3?
Yeah,
that's
because
an odd number.
Well, because they delayed them for Operation Health, all the bug fixes.
Yeah.
So they're introducing the 2 Hong Kong operators that they were initially going to introduce at the beginning of summer. And then they're giving us one of the Grom operators instead of both of them at the same time as like we're sorry you had to wait. Yeah. Here's an extra operator and the map and the 2 other operators.
I really wish their free-to-play stuff was a little bit better.
I do too. That's my biggest problem is that it's just like you can earn everything in game, but it's such a high like money ceiling.
It's 25,000. The most you can get from a daily challenge is 150.
Yeah.
And so
I think they either need to decrease like how much they cost in game or increase how much you earn.
Yeah, one of the two. Inflate your own properties. But what else have you been playing? Or has that really been it?
I still come back to Ghost Recon Wildlands every now and then because I still kind of enjoy it. It is a game I would never fight for to win any category of any kind of Game of the Year argument, but I still have fun with it.
Yeah, it's a game that like I played a little bit at your place. And I was like, that's about as much as I want to play that game forever now, and was like, I don't want to play any more of that game.
It's fun. It gets much more fun when you play like co-op with friends.
I bet that game's way better, with friends. But like, I thought that game, like I played Phantom Background by myself, and it's really good. I played Talon Clancy Wildlands by myself, and was like, no, it's not.
And that's fair. I'm also like like I said, I'd never fight for it for anything. I understand why other people don't enjoy it, and sometimes I don't enjoy it, but I still have some fun with it when I'm in there by myself. The writing is horrible, and the voice acting is bad, which is honestly one of my favorite parts of the game.
It's a saving grace of that game.
It's like, it's bad, but it's like B action movie bad, like that kind of bad where it's like I recognize this is trash, but it's hilarious in how it is trashy.
It's like we're not thinking about any implications at all about this game. We're like, who cares about Bolivia? And then like that's like the idea behind it, being like we could handle this subject with any sort of like any idea. Like nah, fuck it, and like that's their thought process, and you're like fuck yeah, yes, here we go.
The voice acting style and the writing is horrible in that it way too much embraces fuck it. Because I've played games that I thought were brilliant in how they embraced fuck it. Saints Row 4 is great. And it is the embodiment of fuck it in video games.
I don't think Wildlands embraces the fuck it like you think it. I think it's just like
embraces like in tone the fuck it.
It seems like it's almost fuck it in tone, but like with material, it's like isn't torture pretty good? And you're like, what the fuck is going on in this world of these people you're playing as? We're like, torture has no soul like it does anymore. And you're like, what?
But it almost seems like sarcastic about it, but like well.
Yeah, like I'm like, is it? Because they're like talking about torture like, you know, it used to mean something back in the day. And you're like, what are these old men complaining about torture? Like those old New York Times opinion writers who'd be like, is waterboarding really that bad? And you're like,
Yeah.
dog, it's awful.
I turned to my dad, who used to be a Navy pilot and had to go through a capture and evasion training where they literally tortured him to say, this is probably what will happen.
This is what will happen to
captured.
you.
And he says, they waterboarded me. And it is not as bad as people say. It is worse. It
Yeah.
manages to be much worse than anything you would have expected.
You think about like if someone goes, hey, imagine drowning, but you can't drown. And you're like, oh, it sounds awful. And then you're like, no, imagine drowning, but you can't drown. Like, it's a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, my dad like always emphasizes like, you think it's bad and it somehow manages to be worse than even like you can think of it. He's like, even me telling you this probably doesn't set the expectation where it should be.
I mean, there's the classic story of the writer who was like, no, water torture isn't that bad. And then he got like waterboarded to be like prove a point that it's not bad. And then was like, yeah, was immediately like, yeah, no, waterboard is bad. We should never do waterboarding. Torture is terrible. Like instantly when he flips, like, that shit's fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Like no shit, people don't want it. Like what the fuck you think people like this?
There's a reason they use it against our enemies. Like
oh, it's awful. Like there's that game like has so many like fucking problems like around the narrative shit.
Yeah,
that I'm like, what the fuck?
And I find it hilarious in like how horribly it treats everything.
Yeah, it's like what if like we didn't think about any of this, just made like a B action movie, but also all of our characters are awful human beings, and you're like, it's an interesting way to take it.
But unlike other games that have started to like, let's delve into this moral ambiguity, it was just like they're awful.
Yeah, it's a narco state, kill them all.
Hands up. Yeah, and I'm like, this is hilarious. There's like one part where it's like you for the mission you take a truck and it's like a narco truck and you can like sneak into the base that way. That's one of your options. And there's voice lines that are instigated by this where it's like you get in and your character's like, all right, now we just got to go through the front gate. And they're like, yeah, they're totally not going to notice the 4 beefed up Americans with horrible accents. And the main character is just like, I don't know what you're talking about. My accent is perfecto, with like the same level of an attempt as like the scene in Inglourious Bastards where they're just speaking Italian with like redneck Southern accents. And it's like, and the other guy just says, we're so fucked. And I'm just like laughing my ass off because it's like, this is horrible. What team of writers wrote this and thought this was profound or even actually funny?
This is the classic Ubisoft team. This is the Far Cry 3 team back out here again.
But the Far Cry 3 team was good.
What part about Far Cry 3 was good besides Voss?
The whole story.
Yo, dog.
Mainly Jason Brody's character arc.
I'm just
not watching him slowly get corrupted by the environment around him.
I'm just not gonna have this. I'm just not gonna talk about this right now. I think it's not. No, I'm done. I'm not. I'm not. Fallout 4 is not good. Well, Ghost Recon Wildlands isn't good. Players on Battleground is good. Siege is a fucking mess as always.
Siege is a fucking beautiful mess though.
Beautiful mess is of giving it a fucking nice leash that you can let it run on.
It's a good game.
It's a fun game where it tries to prevent you from having fun with the game as much as it can.
I disagree.
That strict nat type shit is real bad and like actually terrible.
I think it's a really good game.
I have a different nat type on my PS4. It's supposed to have worse nat types. Ubisoft has fucked up its online system.
It really has.
Which is why I'm saying it's a fun game that's preventable by its own games. Ubisoft is bad.
And I think
and its free to play shit is garbage.
I think it's a really good game.
Yeah, it's a really good game. All the fun. Like, imagine if you started playing the game right now, or like I can't, I want to get the game, but I can't get the operators and stuff right away. How fucked would that game be able to play right now? You're like, oh, I can't get Frost. I don't even have Frost yet. Like, I'm still working on trying to get like 3 of the. I have none of the Bolivia operators. I said Bolivia, but I think it's
Brazil.
Brazil. Just Bolivia's in my head now. Brazil. I don't have any of them. I want to get Frost next, so I want to. And it's impossible.
It's not impossible. It's just improbable, which is bad.
And I've unlocked all the times we've played. I've unlocked 2 characters. By all the times we've played, I've only been able to unlock 2, which was Jackal and Echo.
Which it's like sad because the default like in-game operators like that you have to unlock like before any DLC, they unlock at a really nice pace. I felt like that was well paced.
I unlocked them all when I originally played the games. I thought like, yeah, it was a bit of a pain to get them all, but I like progression systems, blah blah. Maybe they should all be unlocked automatically. I could see either way, to be honest. But man, is it like a pain in the ass to get those new operators.
I agree.
And it's bad and I hate it. This has been the Objective Perspective. I'm signing off.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye. Have a nice night, everyone. And by night, it could be any time of the day, actually. But, sleep tight.
Yeah, it's like you
I have
listen
a bad,
to this at your own pace.
yeah.
But like,
I have a neck
it's
cramp because I
good
slept
night.
badly. So, think about sleeping well and take care of yourself.
Yeah, take care of your body.
I was doing so good. Been a long time since I felt this way. But you cracked that shell. Only time will tell, so I'll wash my hands of it. That mess of presence makes me nervous, and I don't deserve this. What could I do? You didn't ask for this, so I'll wash my